Okay. So let's see.
Fuck.
We tried instead of strawberry. I actually bought some strawberry, but we have Gallo Family Sweet Peach. So Al and I were like, let's crack open. I'm not a peach drinker by any means. I cracked open his bottle, like, oh, hold on a second. So
shit is delicious.
God damn.
Can this day just end already?
Al was like, we're becoming fucking wine connoisseurs. Who knew? Wait, and Susan, you got the sweet peach, right?
Yep, I got the sweet peach. Before that, I was having coffee, so
Doesn't count. But wait, what's in your glass?
I don't have shit in my glass. I'm drinking Bahama Mama out the motherfucking can, and then I got this Fireball in front of me that you're pressuring me to drink because you know when I drink Fireball, I become angry. So it's like...
Well, I told Susan the kind of friend that I am. I was like, Junior, did you have a bad date today?
You're a shitty friend. You're an incredibly shitty friend. Like, you literally went out of your way to sit there and say, hey, how was your day? I'm having a bad day. I'm like... He asked me if I'm having a bad day, and then it's just like, when am I having a good day? And then he sits there, he's like, good. And I'm like, how the fuck is me having a bad day good?
See, this makes me feel bad because I never text Junior, but if I do, I'd be the one to say, hey, Junior, are you having an okay day today? Is everything all right? Knowing you text him, are you having a bad day? Because you want it to be a bad day.
Exactly.
Because it makes it more hilarious for you.
He thrives off of my suffering.
Exactly.
This is the type of friend he is. My childhood friend thrives off of me suffering.
Junior, it's not just you, because when I'm having a bad day, he's having a fantastic day.
Yeah, for some reason, it's always... I could be having the best day, and Chris will have a horrible day.
Right?
So he tries to balance us out by suddenly start talking about our pet peeves. Like, you know, my number one pet peeve is my dad. So it's just
and
like...
inconvenient fat people.
Yeah, and inconvenient fat people. So when he posts something on Facebook, like when someone from Plenty of Fish messages him, and looks like one of the fucking shields from the Mongolian people in the 1600s. So now you're just wondering, like, what the fuck? Because the bitch is so fucking big. It's just like she take like her when you know you're fat when your whole face takes up the fucking picture. Like the whole face takes up the whole fucking.
She had a
screen.
selfie stick. It didn't matter.
Yeah, the selfie stick didn't fucking matter. The face and the shoulders took all the fucking frame. Yep. That's how you know you're fat as fuck. So anyway, this quick little story.
You're cute, Chris. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, it'd be like this. You're cute. I really like you. And then you're just sitting there like.
I mean, they could at least pretend that they're decent looking. Like, put up a picture of like a model, something. Have like a skinny sister who's married with 2 kids, and then like post her picture instead.
She could have been reverse catfishing you. She might have been super fucking hot with a fat picture just to see if guys are fucking be interested in anything other than the physical.
But then here's the thing, though. But then you got somebody like me who's a complete dick that made I made a fucking email and it said Taco Bell 418@gmail.com. Yeah, that's me, bitches. So when I'm in your fucking inbox and I'm asking if you want the numbers 1 through 5 from Taco Bell because I want to feed your fat ass, you better fucking respond. You fucking son of a bitch. I need to drink more. What the fuck is going on?
And you wonder why I want him angry for. See, if he had a good day, he wouldn't be saying this.
No, he'd probably still be saying
I would probably still be saying this, but not with such fucking fervor. Because right now, I need Tuesday to become Sunday because I know Sunday's my next day off. So I literally just needed to fast forward 5 days or to rewind 48 hours.
What time are you going to be in tomorrow?
11 o'clock in the morning.
Well, you got shit. I got to be at 5 o'clock in the morning. You got more time than me.
So what? That don't mean shit. I still fucking suffer.
Right? Like, this is what he doesn't get. Like, he's
you
like...
don't get that I fucking suffer. You don't get that shit.
He's constantly like, I have to be there at 5 a.m.
I gotta go see people the size of the fucking Mongolian wall. Like, what the fuck you think I gotta fucking do? What the fuck do you think I gotta deal with? You gotta deal with stupid people. I gotta deal with inconvenient fat people. That's a whole hell of a lot fucking worse.
Assholes.
When you gotta fucking sit there and say excuse me 8 times to get around them because they got their own fucking orbit. That's fucking ridiculous.
See, hey, I'm thinking about you because I told Christian I want to text and drive, so I gave my kid the phone and said, pop up Junior's name, sure. And I was like, put on just push to talk. And I hit, are you having a bad day? And I'm like, that makes me happy. And I wanted to add to that. He already pressed send. I'm like, oh, great. And he starts laughing. I was like, let me add to that saying, I'm glad you're having a bad day because you get drunk and angry and it's fucking hilarious. And Christian's laughing his ass off. And so I told him, he's like, Dad, how'd the last podcast go? I was like, well, Junior told a story about his father giving him advice how to do push-ups. And of course, he's laughing his ass off. So
Every time I mention my dad, your kid immediately starts laughing. Like, he just knows. He knows that once I mention him, that I'm going to say something fucked up. Like, but it's true.
It's like, Dad, how did he pull his leg out by just walking fast?
Seriously. That's fucking ridiculous.
I was like, see,
Al,
son?
that's like you walking fast to get a wrench, and you're just like, all of a sudden, you just fucking sit there and pull your fucking hamstring because you literally walk 30 feet to get a fucking wrench. But you walk a little bit faster than normal and you pull your hamstring. I just don't see that happening with you. I mean, I see it happening with him, but it happened with him already. But he didn't grab a wrench. He just used a walking fast machine that looked like it was about to fucking choke on his fat. Now, the thing that pisses me off more than anything about this motherfucker is the whole diet tips. You can't give somebody diet tips when you're above the level of obese. Like, there's overweight, there's just big, there's fat, there's overweight, there's obese. Fat and overweight is like hand in hand. But there's obese, and then there's fucking morbidly obese. And that's what this motherfucker is.
And then there's damn.
No. Oh yeah, that's the my 600 pound life. That's the damn. That's the fucking you're eating fucking motors.
I always loved Gabriel Iglesias's 5 levels of fat.
Really?
He's like, there's chunky.
No, there's 5 levels
chubby.
of fat, and he's level 10.
He's like, there's chubby, chunky, something.
Fluffy.
Fluffy's 4, and then damn.
God. So, Junior, what was the rant you were about to go on?
What, my rant?
You just, because it's like, again, this is kind of, first I thought about you, but just you moved across the room so you wouldn't touch that fireball, and you see Al just conveniently happened to slip it over next to you, so.
That's because you fucking handed it to him.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it was. He just like quietly put it on the table. I looked at him quietly put it on the table. Then he looked at me right in my eyes and said, yeah, you're definitely have to at least take a shot of this bad boy. And I'm like, well, fuck it. I mean, I got cocktail in the fucking can, so I might as well get this fucking shot over with. Today's just a fucked up day. Why is today always a fucked up day? Like, why? Why can't I just ever have a good day? Why can't I just go to work? Like, when I was on the bus and this fucking person stunk, why can't I just have a day where it's just like, I don't got to deal with a bad smell, a fat piece of shit. Why can't I just have one of those days? Like, can I smile for a day? Can I smile? Can I laugh? Can I have these days to myself? Because I feel like I can't ever have those days. And then I come here and I'm just angry. And it's conveniently on podcast day that I'm literally always angry. Like, I think you guys like telepathically send me a text message. Hey, you're having a bad day, aren't you? That just made it worse. Like, I just look at my phone. And
it's always in the form of Chris's voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never Al, never me, never Jen, never Elliot.
Never anybody
Chris.
else. Never
always
anybody
Chris.
else.
Could be Christian though.
So let's see. I told Al before we started recording this that it's we're trying our best to stay positive and stay comical, but checking anything social media news outlets, it's kind of hard when it's only 2 things we've been talking about as a society for the past 4 fucking days. Like, boy, I mean, trying to find anything that isn't related to protests and violence and racist stuff too. Trying to find anything like, well, Bill and Ted 3 dropped today, the first trailer, which I'm like, holy fuck, something positive in the past 4 months of my life. It's only like a minute trailer, but like, I got to see a Bill and Ted trailer. I never thought. It's been 30 fucking years since Bill and Ted 2 came out, and
nice.
We're finally getting Bill and Ted 3, which I'm not sure if I want this, but I'm still gonna go see it. So.
For anyone out there that's a huge Supernatural fan, the first 13 episodes of the 15th season are now on Netflix. I recommend watching them. They were amazing.
The first 13 episodes?
First 13 episodes of the 15th season.
The final season was coming out, and happens because of Rona. They had to stop filming the last half of the season. So at least to give the fans, like, hey, here's at least the first half of the season. So it's something. And
then they're going to finish recording the rest of the season this coming fall.
Okay.
So, trying to find. So I got about 5 kind of comical articles, but not sure if you guys heard about this. A big, huge thing today pissed a lot of people off, and I don't have HBO Max yet. But did you hear about the new Looney Tunes cartoons, Al? Mm-mm. So, I'm not joking.
Elmer Fudd no longer has
a gun.
A gun.
And Yosemite Sam.
And Yosemite Sam.
They no longer have guns. So Elmer Fudd is chasing Bugs Bunny with a scythe. And Yosemite Sam has, to my knowledge, yet to be out there yet, too. But Elmer Fudd will no longer carry a shotgun to shoot Daffy or Bugs with. And Yosemite Sam, whose entire character is about a rootin' tootin', oh, fuck.
6-gun shooting. Yo, what's the point of them redoing these cartoons? Like,
I'm not watching them. I'm fucking skipping them because the way that they redid Teen Titans fucking pissed me off.
Oh,
like you turned Teen Titans from a great ass cartoon into a piece of shit. Yeah. Like I literally look at that cartoon and I lost 60 points of my IQ just watching.
Which one? Teen Titans Go?
Yeah, the Teen Titans. They remade it for young children. That's why.
But Teen Titans, you can make it for young children, like the regular Teen Titans. Like what?
But, Starfire was hysterical in it.
Hell yeah, Starfire was funny as hell. She was stupid, but she was funny as hell.
And this is the thing with the first version. It was made for children, but if you're an adult, you could still enjoy it.
Hell yeah.
This new version is absolutely geared only towards kids.
Yeah.
If you're an adult and you watch it, it's gonna hurt your head. Like,
why the fuck am I watching this dumb shit?
Okay, but here's the thing: we grew up watching Looney Tunes, and like.
My whole question for the Looney Tunes thing is, why fucking remake it? Like, it's the original, the class. They're all still available.
Stop fucking up the classics.
Just stop fucking shit up. The originals were great. I mean,
or if you want to maybe possibly make new episodes to add to them, it's just to make it just more zany, like adventures of like Bugs getting chased by Elmer Fudd or something, or Roadrunner, fine. But like. Yeah, so now they're still going to have Acme bombs and dynamite and TNT. You can still see a rabbit get blown up, and you can still shove a stick of dynamite up Elmer Fudd's ass, but like you can't shoot at him though. What's like I told Susan about this, where one of my favorite movies ever, probably my favorite one from all the Disney cartoons, was Lilo and Stitch. I love Stitch. He's a funny ass, like one of the funniest characters ever created. I love Lilo.
Surprisingly, also. Your youngest sister's favorite movie as well. I
just love that, and I like too because it's in Hawaii. They have Lilo. It's just everything about the whole family dynamic and just all the Disney messages. But right now on Disney Plus, there's a scene where Lilo is hiding from her sister, and she hides inside of a washing machine. So they felt that right now a child hiding inside of a washing machine might be dangerous. So they went back and they redrew the washing machine to an oven. So now Lilo hides from her sister inside of an oven.
It's just as dangerous.
Probably more so.
So a child hiding in an oven is safer than a... So... Oh boy. Yeah,
And they wonder why we drink.
I drink a lot because people piss me off.
Oh, Christ. So, I mentioned this, and Elliot told me... Elliot, he's not here right now, but he told me this, and I had to look it up myself, which broke today, which I'm very happy. But, so that scumbag Jake Paul's talking about, well, his dipshit brother Logan Paul said a couple days ago, of course, he had to hop in the whole bandwagon of, like, BLM and stuff, and I need to put out an apology, and I'm with them, and of course, but first, his brother wasn't at the riots, then he's like, well, my brother probably was at the riots, but he's like, well, he definitely didn't do anything. First, he wasn't there, then he was there. Okay, now it's official where Jake Paul has been arrested in Arizona because it's been proven, and the cops received hundreds and hundreds of fucking tips showing that he was at the protest, the riot during Black Lives Friggin' Matter. Also, too, it's shown on videotape where he said that, well, Jake Paul was trying to defend himself, saying that, well, I was just there filming the reaction from people and I want to support them. And it's like, funny how that one guy broke into a store and started handing you products from the store. That's you supporting people, right? It's like, so they arrested him for criminal trespassing and unlawful assembly. And in the video, people other than Jake Paul are seen looting and vandalizing businesses. And it's unclear if they're part of his entourage, but these are the criminal charges he's facing.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
And of course, he put out a tweet saying, he's like, just give me my charges and let's put the focus back on George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. Okay. So.
I need to take another sip for that.
So he's been charged. Like, we'll see what happens to him as always. But like, at first he said, I was never there and stuff too. This is totally false stuff too. Now he's like, well, no, actually I was there. But now it's like, you're caught looting. Well, maybe I was, whatever, dude. You're you're an asshole. We're probably worth like $6-7 million fucking dollars, and you were looting and shit. But hey, YouTubers, way to stay popular. So,
hey, So I just got a message on my phone, and guess what message I got? I got a message about something to talk about in our podcast today. And this guy's name, his name is Jay. I'm going to call him Jay, a.k.a. Standby. His name is Standby. Now, why is his name Standby?
I can only imagine.
His name is Standby because he's on standby in case anything fucked up happens, especially when I drink. Because most of the time when I drink, I do something fucking stupid. So he's always on standby to either bail my ass out or to, you know, help out in case something goes fucked up, because I'm pretty much useless when I drink a lot. Anyway, so he asked me to talk about a bunch of things that we did. And the one thing that I'm going to talk about, because I don't want to take too much time, obviously, because we got a bunch of other stuff to talk about. But the day that I met this guy, we went to Denny's. It was 2:00 in the morning.
Oh, boy.
And I was extremely fucking drunk. But I wasn't so drunk where I forgot this moment, because for some reason, a bunch of anger boiled up inside of me, and it made me sober enough to make fun of everybody inside the Denny's that was there at the time.
Of course.
Like, literally, I was ordering something to eat, and I was there, and next thing you know, I was looking around the Denny's, and I was like, what the fuck did I just walk into? And literally, I made fun of everybody in the Denny's.
Oh,
but the person who got it the worst was the security guard. The security guard got it the worst, because this is what I said about the security guard. I was like, what the fuck is the security guard even doing there? I was like, he's not even guarding nothing. The only thing he's guarding is those fucking pills that he's probably trying to shove down the waitresses' throats. Like, he's just he looked like a total fucking piece of shit. I was like, he's not even a security guard.
Jesus.
I was like, he's somebody that's trying to get a fucking parole hearing. Like, he's not even fucking real. Like, nobody fucking respects him. It's like, look at him. They're not even looking at his fucking bald ass head. Fucking piece of shit. Like, I literally was just roasting him so loud. Everybody was hearing me like, yo, Will, you gotta relax. Like, fuck that. There was like a table of like 20 Asians. I swear to God, it's about to be another Mortal Kombat scene. Like, it was like, you had fucking Sub-Zero, Katana, fucking... I was just like, what the fuck? You had Scorpion, fucking Liu Kang. I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? It's like, yo, it was like a whole Halloween party, but it was fucking June 25th. Like, that shit was just fucking... I was just roasting everybody. Then there was this guy I called Crater Face. Now, when I tell you... This guy, his face literally looked like the fucking moon. Like, it literally had the same fucking craters like you were on the moon. And I literally called him fucking Crater Face. The amount of zits and fucking shit that he had on his face is like, damn, you don't ever wash your fucking face, do you? Like, he turned around. He was looking at me, but I was looking right at him in his fucking eyes. And I literally was just saying, I was literally just like, God damn, you need to wash your fucking face. Like, fucking dirty fuck. You're in Denny's at 1 o'clock. You can afford, so let me get this straight. You can afford a $25 meal at fucking Denny's, but you can't afford to go and spend $6 on some fucking soap to wash your face. I was like, yeah, I can clearly fucking tell with all them fucking zits and craters you got on your fucking face, you piece of shit. Like, yo, I fucking roasted everybody. Then I was just like, yo, then I roasted these other people. Like, this couple that was in there, they were so innocent. They had nothing to do with it, but I still roasted them. I was like, look at these motherfuckers here. It looked like you look like 2 stars from the fucking Game. Now, you know the fucking show The Game, right? That was on CW. Yeah, I said they look like the 2 stars from The Game. I was like, these motherfuckers here look like they went to some extravagant ass party. And then for the after party, yeah, let me go to some bootleg spot like the Denny's. You know you just trying to get some pussy if you just bringing her to Denny's, because you know she's satisfied with whatever food she get, because you definitely about to give her another helping. I was like, yo, I fucking roasted. Then, oh my God, this was the best one. So there was like a group of 5 white people that was literally sitting at this fucking table, right? Oh, shit. I looked over to my fucking right, and they were looking right at me because I roasted everybody, right? I already roasted everybody in there, except for like another couple, but I'll get to them in a second. But I looked at these. I was like, who the fuck is these motherfuckers looking at? Fucking Brady Bunch. I was like, hey, Marsha, where's my fucking drink? Like,
cool,
yo, it was like, yo, I started fucking going crazy. Then I saw this one bitch with some ashy ass feet. I fucking erupted on her. I was like, yo, she don't need no fucking extra pancakes. This bitch needs some Lucaderm. This bitch needs to put that shit. Like, it was just like, what the fuck is your problem coming into a public place with some ashy ass feet? Like, I swear to God, like, it looked like chalk. Like, she could literally write her fucking name on the carpet. That's how ashy her fucking feet were.
God.
I was like, you got the audacity to show up in a public place with ashy feet like that? Oh, hell no. And what she was wearing was just out of control. She was wearing some shit. Like, first of all, I don't know what, like, how do you wear sandals that expose your ashy ass feet like that? Like, those shits were ash. Like, they look like fucking cigarette ash. Like, they were fucking ashy. Like, god damn. Then you could tell she got that little ass ponytail on her head, so you know she didn't make that stop at Beauty Supply, because you know she spends more money on weave than she does on fucking lotion. You could clearly tell by how she came out at 2:00 in the fucking morning, because she had nowhere else to be but to buy a $20 meal, and I bet you she tried to pay for that shit with EBT. How much you want to bet? Yo. So that was the first night that I met my friend. Like, that was my first impression. I was just a total fucking piece of shit. I was prejudging everybody under the heavy influence of fucking alcohol, just like I'm on now. Heavy influence of fucking alcohol. So it's just like, holy shit. So stand by. Me and you, man, we go back about 5 years, man. 5 years. That is fucking insane. And our first time meeting was the most explosive that you've ever met anybody. I can possibly imagine that, because that was literally the first night we started hanging out. I roasted everybody in the vicinity, and that was just that was fucking insane. That was funny as fuck. But then there was a fat fuck that was there. I called him Zangief. Yo, he looked just like fucking Zangief. I was like, this motherfucker gonna do the lariat with his fucking plates of food. Fucking fat piece of shit. I was like, who the fuck told you to come in here? Motherfucker had like 6 plates of food in front of him. I'm like, you had enough yet, you fat fuck? Like, damn. The waitress came over to his table like 4 times. He's still ordering. I was like, damn, motherfucker. I'm surprised I wasn't kicked out. I'm really honestly surprised I wasn't kicked out of fucking Denny's.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I was kicked out of Denny's once, but that's a story for another day. I fucking got kicked out of Denny's once. I got kicked out of a lot of spots. I got kicked out of IHOP. I got kicked out of IHOP twice. I'm surprised I'm not banned from that place. But I got kicked out from the Real Seafood Company. I definitely got kicked out from there because I threw the plate at the waitress.
Why?
Well, here's what happened, right? First of all, the waitress was my ex-girlfriend. Okay. So that automatically pissed me off, right?
Like, that already
Why'd you go there?
So I didn't know I honestly did not know that she was working there at the time. I didn't know. So that immediately fucking pissed me off. As soon as I seen her, I was just like, fuck. I was like, I was already comfortable. I didn't want to get up and go anywhere else. This is where I wanted to go. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, it was all right. But then I looked at my fucking food. You can clearly see the spit in my food. I was like, this bitch literally fucking spit in my food. I was like, what? Listen. I was like, you dead ass spit in my food. You try to serve that shit to me. Then you smiled. Oh, I threw the plate right at the back of her fucking head and her weave fell out. I was like, fuck you, bitch. Fuck? So it was just like, yeah, I didn't give a fuck. And then I got kicked out, obviously. I was like, I ain't coming back in this bitch anyway. Bitch spit in my fucking food. And then it was just like, oh, really? Why didn't you just come get me then? Fuck you. Fuck you mean? She laughed and thought that shit was a fucking joke. All the dick she been sucking, no wonder why. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? All the dick she been sucking behind my fucking back. I don't know what the fuck she got in her mouth. You gonna spit in my fucking food. Bitch, you wore that shit in the back of your fucking head and I walked out. Go fuck yourself.
Wow.
I fucking hate that place. Real Seafood Company.
Exactly.
The one on Wolf Road.
Yeah. That place is a piece of shit anyway. The fucking seafood smelled dead. Like, you walked in there and they'd be like, oh, that's fresh lobster in there. Motherfucker, they not swimming. You go to Red Lobster, them motherfuckers just swimming and everything. You go to Real Seafood Company, that shit not even swimming. That shit dead in the fucking water. Eyes all glistening over and shit looking at you like, nigga, I'm already dead.
I had 2 experiences with that place. The first time I went there, the food is actually pretty good, but the portions were so fucking small for what they charged me that I was like, At that point, I had made up my mind to never go back, and then I got talked into going back. And the second time I went there, the food was bad, and not only was the food bad, they still overcharged me for the tiny ass portions that they give. Like I was like, God, I'm never going back there ever.
Wow, motherfuckers can't cook. How fucking dare you, bitch?
Just seen a news article. So people, they're at a Walmart parking lot down in Florida. They looked over and they had to call the cops and everything and animal control. And there's an alligator walking around the parking lot in the Walmart store. So,
let's do the Florida Man challenge.
That's Florida for you.
Speaking of Florida, let's do the Florida Man challenge.
Could you imagine going to fucking Walmart? You look over, get your fucking car, and 10 feet away, there's an alligator walking towards you. Like,
listen, let me tell you something. I am never gonna be. If there's wildlife that I am absolutely certain could kill me, you won't find me there. You won't. Like, you know what an alligator would have to do to get me? Like, people that get attacked by alligators or bears or lions or sharks, like, you're basically taking yourself to them as a meal. Like an alligator would literally have to book a flight to New York. and then come into the middle of the city to get me. Like, it's just, I'm not with that crazy live around the wildlife shit that people like to do.
Yeah. Speaking of Florida Man, so the Florida Man story for today is Florida Man threatens man with machete to go steal beer from Walmart. That sounds like a Florida Man thing to do at this point. Florida. That sounds about Florida right there. And then yesterday's story was Florida man set on fire while siphoning fuel with a shop vac. Fucking stupid piece of shit. You deserve it. The fuck is wrong with you? And then this one, it says Florida man calls 911 for ride to Hooters, gets ride to jail instead.
Yeah, sounds like that's the way that goes.
No, I watch I'm sure at this point I'm going to start finding 1,000 a day. But we watched so many seasons of House, and part of the comedy of House was like somebody would walk into the houses, he'd just get the most strangest, dumbest shit, and he would say, people fucking lie. I'm to the point now, if something happens to you, be honest with your doctor. Even if it's embarrassing, tell your doctor what really went down, because come on, they can't help you. Like this man, this came from the mirror.uk. A man sticks a phone charger up his penis, but he tells the doctors he swallowed it.
What the fuck?
There was a phone charger inside of his fucking bladder, and he told the doctors, I swallowed it.
How the fuck did you even get that in your dick?
So a man...
That sounds so uncomfortable.
He rammed
uncomfortable.
It's like...
It's an understatement.
It's a 2-foot mobile phone charger cable for sexual gratification up his penis, but he told the doctors that I ate it. It's like,
so 2 feet of cable up his fucking.
I don't even have Jesus a penis,
Christ.
But damn, that sounds painful.
Oh god, that's Jesus making me want to throw up.
Right?
Talk about charged up.
Facts.
There you go, man. God damn. So it's like, but doctors looking at you like, dude, you didn't eat this. No, I swear I ate it. Like, no, you didn't. It's physically fucking impossible for you to eat a phone. Anyway, it's in your bladder.
Who the fuck would do some dumb shit like
dumbass.
That? What the fuck?
The things the human beings will stick up and eat, and it's just holy Christ, like.
Things people will stick inside themselves.
I'm gonna keep finding them. Trust me. It's like it's inevitable. So much like so from the fucking Daily Mail in UK. This was in China, but doctors had to do a 30-year-old man. He went to a hospital in China after having abdominal pain. They had to do an X-ray and check this man's body. They found that there was a dead fish inside of his anus. So he said that.
Fuck.
I'm watching a video, which is pretty gruesome, because it even says, too, warning, this may be, not suitable for young children. You fucking think? Like, so.
Oh, God.
He told the doctors that he sat on it by accident.
What the fuck?
So.
Sure you did.
Naked?
The doctors pulled out some kind of a Chinese fish out of this man's ass. He said, it's something called, it's a blue tilapia. I've seen pictures of it. It's not a big fish, but it's about 12 to 16 inches long. And he said, yeah, how to get up there? And I sat on it by accident. So he just happened to just see a random fish flopping around a chair and just jumped on it apparently and just.
And it swam up his ass.
Wow.
The craziest shit I've seen. There was a video. This was like years ago. It's a video online of this guy who was getting his teeth pulled, and he was growing maggots in his gum. It was the worst shit I'd ever seen.
Christ.
I was like, that shit doesn't even sound like something that should be real, but if they didn't have a video of it, I wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah.
The fuck type of shit? What the fuck is going on in America?
Yeah. That wasn't in America. That was somewhere else.
Well, this is in China, but yeah. So the 30-year-old man, they wouldn't release his name because why not? But he remains anonymous. He claimed that the fish slipped inside of his rectum after he accidentally sat on it. It says the medics had to surgically open the man's belly to remove the dead fish from his rectum because the fish was quite big. And then, of course, you can hear a nurse in the background in the video. She's like, "It stinks so bad." Jesus Christ.
Oh, you want to hear a funny story?
So again, every time you think you've had a bad day at work, you were pulling a fish out of a man's ass.
That's part of your job. You got to remove a dead fish from an adult human's ass. Like, it's not like this person isn't old enough to know better.
Before you go, Junior, so a man was 68 years old. He had a 10-inch chopstick lodged in his stomach because he said he was curious. So they had to surgically move a 10-inch chopstick from the guy's ass because he just shoved it up there.
I mean, at least he was honest and explained he was curious.
Curious my ass. He was fucking horny and fucking gay. And instead of finding a boyfriend, he fucking found a chopstick. Like a psycho.
He said, so he did it out of curiosity.
Oh, fuck.
It would have been a lot easier to just go find a boyfriend.
Oh, boy.
Now, this is the type of shit that pisses me off. This one says, British couple, dangerous Florida scorpion found in bananas.
Wow.
How the fuck did a scorpion get into some bananas? First of all, how the fuck can you not even see that? Like, how the fuck does a British couple find a scorpion in Florida bananas? Like, how do you even manage that at this point? Like, at this point, you gotta, like, look at something and just be like, how is that even fucking possible? Like,
yeah, I don't...
a fucking Florida scorpion in your apples. Or bananas.
Yeah.
So you didn't notice the fucking scorpion when you put the fucking bananas in your cart? Like, the scorpion was just there, fucking just there, hanging out. Scorpions aren't small. Scorpions are big as fuck.
Yeah, the other day I sent Al this picture on fucking our app that I found on Facebook, which he had me laughing so hard because the picture says 2020 is so wild that the government just confirmed UFOs are real, but nobody gives a shit. So I texted it to Al. Al's like, he's like, God damn it. He's like, they just stole my, that might have been my ride home. So I told everybody this, they're laughing, Jamie, Brian, Mom. I said this to Al, like, listen, we got to admit, so if there is another, it probably is, higher form of intelligence out there, some kind of supreme beings, whatever, they look at us like how we look at chimps. Simple as that. So if we were to take, like, I don't know, some random island out in the fucking middle of, like, the Pacific or some shit, and we just started genetically modifying some chimps, and we just threw the chimps on this island, and we came back in 100 years. 100 years later, how are the chimps doing? Have they evolved? Have they learned? No, we have, like, the white chimps beating up the brown chimps, and the fucking more yellowish chimps, too. They're enslaved, and they have a hierarchy, and we're like, you know what? You chimps haven't learned shit in the past fucking 100 years, we're gonna come back. I can imagine any kind of supreme alien being like, Jesus Christ, guys, we created you dipshits like 6,000 years ago, and you're still fucking bitching and arguing and killing each other over the the outside of your skin color. We'll see you guys in year 3000. Like, all of us are going to fuck back to our planet. Like, seriously.
You want to hear something else that's crazy? This mother named her baby.
Oh, God. And
then immediately went to social media and says she regrets naming her baby out of a vegetable. Now, it's already bad enough that Kanye named his fucking kid Northwest. Like, first name North, last name West. It's just like, it's a fucking cardinal direction. Okay? Like, yeah, I'm just gonna go north. You're gonna be like, what, you talking about me? Like, oh, all right. Like, we're like, do you even have a nickname for your kid right now? Like, is there a nickname? Like
Northy
or like Norty or something? Like, just gotta be a nickname there. Is like Nunu? Is it like Nunu or Nala or something? There's got to be a nickname in there because
her nickname is Nori.
Oh Christ,
Nori? That's her nickname for real?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean that's better. I'm if I see her, I'm gonna call her Nori. So I'm damn sure not gonna call her fucking North.
Her brother's name is Saint, and the other one's name is Chicago. So they're
Jesus
not
Christ.
really like the smartest people in the world when it comes to anything. To begin with, naming their children, they've just become dumber.
But it's just like, come on. Like, your name is Kanye, and, you know, your wife's name is Kim. You think you can name better names for your fucking kids when you have clearly normal names yourself. Like, but this fucking parent decided to say, I'm naming my kid after my favorite vegetable. And her favorite fucking vegetable is a mushroom. Now, not just any mushroom, but a fucking portobello mushroom.
Oh,
so she named her kid Portobello.
Could have been worse. It could have been shiitake.
That's true. That's true, because I would have been calling her kid shitty all day.
God almighty.
It's like this thing. I heard this thing years ago. I don't know how true it is, but I have heard this thing where there's this guy, last name Pig, named his fucking daughters Ima and Yura.
What the fuck?
So their name was Ima Pig and Yura Pig.
What the fuck is wrong with people?
I don't know if there's any reality.
Think of an actual name.
let me
You know,
Google
there
it.
are supposed to be rules out there that you're not supposed to be able to name your children certain names due to the fact that they are going to be picked on because of how it sounds.
I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna look at some of these names.
There is somebody named Ima Pig. I'm a hog.
I'm a hog.
Yo, this girl tried to name her kid Cyanide.
Holy fuck.
Yo, what the fuck is wrong with people? Yo, no. Here's another one. I'm gonna name my kid Nutella. Yo, there's legitimately people. There's legitimately people that have tried to name their kid out of a fucking condiment. I'm fucking finished. I gotta look at this. I gotta look at more. This shit is crazy. Oh my god. How do you have to outlaw names? Like, literally, they outlawed the name RoboCop. Like, how do you have to outlaw something
Fucking
like that to name
Jesus
your
Christ.
kid? Like, no, seriously, these are the top 10. These are the top 10
Outlawed names?
outlawed names. Number 6 is the @ symbol. Like, it's not an actual
Jesus
word.
Christ.
It's just the @ symbol.
Listen, Prince did that and got away with it for years.
Like, what the fuck?
Changed his name to a symbol.
But why the fuck would you name your kid Cyanide? Like, what the fuck?
You have to be very, 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 very mentally challenged.
Fucking stupid. Like, what the fuck? Like, seriously, I'm really gonna look this up. Banned baby names. Like, how do these names even have to be banned? Or I'm gonna look at this one. The top 10 worst baby names. All right, I'm pretty sure I'm already gonna see a couple of these on here. Okay. What the fuck?
Did you guys hear about this thing? It's been, I guess, trending for the past day or so. It's like, yeah, I hate the fucking names Karen, but the article, anyways, about the whole Phoenix Karen issue with this woman. So apparently there was a woman that was in Phoenix, Arizona. She was at a convenience store and she was telling this girl to basically, go back to your own country and get the fuck out of here. And the woman went off on her, and it's about a minute video, and it comes down to the woman slaps this older white woman in the face because she's telling her to go back to his own country, and
Video.
la-di-da, she's Native American. So the whole, go back to your own fucking country. And the girl was refuting it, saying, well, I'm from this country. I was born and raised here. My people are from this country. What country are your ancestors from? And, yeah. So it's, yet again,
Another ignorant person that doesn't understand their history. And then honestly, there's just not even any point of even giving that the light of day. It's just a point that, you know what, she's a retard. And she deserved to get that slap in the face, because I watched that video myself. And honestly, she wouldn't have gotten slapped in the face if she didn't put hands on the girl.
yeah, I think, well, she did push her and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
she put hands on the girl, and then she came back and slapped her in the face. So actually, she defended herself, so you can't actually cry assault.
Oh, yeah.
And Cuomo is actually trying to pass a law called the Amy Cooper Law in New York, named after the girl that was in Central Park that tried to call the police on the black guy that told her to put the leash on her dog, saying that it's actually a hate crime now to call 911 for false reasons, especially if it's interracial situation.
Yeah.
So now I dare motherfuckers just sit there and try to call 911 for some stupid reason, because then you'll go to jail for a fucking hate crime. And hate crimes serve a lengthy ass sentence in jail.
Well, honestly, with that happening, and I'm glad it's happening, but like we've talked about this like a month ago, so hopefully we start getting to the charges where it's like when you accuse a guy of raping you and it finds out he didn't rape you, you need to get some prison time your damn self.
Hell yeah.
Because right now it's just like, oh, well, charges were fucking against him, they were false, case dismissed. No, case shouldn't be fucking dismissed. Now you want to accuse a guy of raping you and you have no evidence and you lied your fucking ass off. Now you need to how about you do a fucking year in county jail then?
So, and do more than that.
Or more, but
more than that. I'd say like 3 to 5.
At least that's something to start with, you know.
Because any sort of rape accusations, you're destroying a man's life.
Oh yeah, we've said that too, and not even just. And now, of course, we see it with social media. God forbid he's got a Facebook account or Twitter account or even his job. What if he loses his fucking job? Like some jobs may not hire him back, which I would get a lawyer anyway. Just say, hey, listen, you fired me off. So, but who knows? But it's just like, so hey, maybe we are progressively getting better. So it's like, good. I'm glad that if you falsely accuse a person, you should get fucking jail time.
But that's just from police calls and interracial police calls at that. But what needs to happen though also too is the whole rape and the sexual assault and things like that, because there have been lies that's been spread about it, even the physical aspect and the assault of it. It needs to be addressed. That needs to be addressed too.
Apparently the Twitter thing got like 10 million views and stuff, and just like of course they're the woman and stuff too, they're going after her husband and shit and his on his page and his business and stuff, but it's like
they need to pass that law countrywide. It needs to be a federal law. Like I still think about the kid that it was in Walmart with the BB gun, and the fucking guy called the fucking police and said he's in the store pointing the gun at people.
Really?
And the SWAT team showed up and just killed him. Yeah, that happened years ago. It was like a few years back.
If I never heard of that. It's gonna come on. So
he was in the store. He picked the fucking
Walmart and a BB gun.
Yeah, he picked the BB gun up off the shelf. It was out of the package. I think he walked around the corner with it. He was looking at other things on the shelf. Somebody called fucking 911 and said that the guy is in the store with a gun, pointing it at people, menacing people with the gun.
The
SWAT team showed up and murdered him without any questions. No freeze, no stop, no hands up, none of that. They walked in there and opened fire and killed him dead.
This was 2014. Yeah. So
what happened with that?
It says Ohio Walmart video reveals moments before officer killed John Crawford. Yep.
At the time, there were no laws that basically they don't punish people for calling in something that they think is a crime. It's up to your interpretation of what you think is happening. So if you think a crime is being committed, they can't punish you for making that call. The problem is this guy made a call that was just a lie. What he called in and said happened wasn't happening. They have the entire thing on Walmart's surveillance cameras.
Yeah, they do.
The entire thing was captured. The guy didn't interact with anybody else. He walked in the aisle. He picked the gun up. He walked around the corner. He was looking at other stuff on the shelf. Fucking SWAT team ran in and fucking murdered him because of a phone call that somebody made.
The video's up. It's a video 1 minute video, and tells you warning graphic images and surveillance footage from the Ohio Walmart where police killed a young black man who was holding an unloaded air rifle and talking on his cell phone. Shows he was shot from the side as he moved to run away from advancing officers. Police had repeatedly been told via a customer on the line to a 911 dispatcher that John Crawford III was pointing the gun at shoppers and may have it loaded with bullets. But the footage, released by prosecutors, shows he was walking past several customers in the minutes before he died without pointing the gun at them. In the final moments of the footage, warning graphic images, Crawford is seen standing at the end of the aisle, pointing the gun downwards at his side, occasionally swinging it and holding it towards a store shelf containing pet products. Oblivious to the unfolding police response, he's talking casually on the phone with the mother of his 2 young sons. Wow. The police officer who shot Crawford on charges of murder, reckless homicide, or negligent homicide, after hearing from 18 witnesses and considering the video and audio evidence, the jurors concluded on their 3rd day in session that that Williams acted reasonably in shooting Crawford dead at the store. Whoa.
That was one of the things that I could say honestly pissed me off. But at the same time, I had a friend of mine explain it to me from this point of view. He said, put yourself in a cop's position. The cops didn't get any kind of call from a person. They got an order from their superiors saying that there's a person in the store with a gun menacing people. That's what they responded to. And I was like, but shit, they could have went in there and said, freeze, put your hands up. But it was like, the problem is when SWAT is involved, the situation is already past the point of, freeze, put your hands up. At this point, it's fucking take this person out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like almost like not exactly what I was saying, but like to what the prosecutor for the case told the press conference that the guy was a victim of a perfect storm of circumstances, and he didn't do anything wrong. However, enough of the grand jurors decided that the police officers, and the police officer in particular that fired the shot, was justified in doing what he did. So, it says, well, were the police facing such a situation here? No. Did they know that? No. They told, we've got a guy in here with a rifle. He's holding the rifle and he's pointing it at people. That's what they heard. The 911 caller later clarified to The Guardian in an interview that at no point did he shoulder the rifle and point at somebody. But that's...
After the fact, he clarified, but he didn't clarify when he made the call. When he made the call, he told them that he was fucking... The guy was in there with a gun, pointing it at people.
There you go. He's like pointing it at people. Richie, 100 feet away, told the 911 dispatcher shortly after 8:22 p.m. This dispatcher relayed this to officers on the scene.
Yeah.
Says they disclosed on Wednesday that one officer actually called back to check and confirm this. Yes, that's what the caller says. He's pointing at people. So.
And what's crazy about that is that guy should have been charged.
Fucking right.
He lied. That was a complete. I don't know if he was just angry at the guy. Like, I don't know what the fuck was going on in his head. But that was a situation where that guy should have been charged with a crime.
And it gets worse too. Let's see. Shortly after 8:25 p.m., Richie, still on the phone with the dispatcher, told the dispatcher he looked like he was trying to load it. This too was relayed to the officers as they arrived at the store. 55 seconds later, Angela Williams entered the pet aisle with two of her children. Crawford stood totally still at the other end of the aisle with the rifle at his side, pointing it at the floor. Yet, he told the dispatcher he just pointed at like two children. 40 seconds later, the dispatchers asked, "You said he pointed at a couple of children?" And he replied, "Right." Then 35 seconds later, Sean Williams and a colleague entered the aisle between Richie and Crawford. They stepped out to the left from the side of a product display at a right angle to the aisle. One officer can be heard shouting down in the background to his 911 call. Crawford, still side on to officers, instantly bent his knees as if prepared to run in the other direction. Then he was shot twice in quick succession. So, like, I was like, this motherfucker lied his ass off.
He lied, and that fucker got no punishment for it, man. I feel like I say this at the time when this happened, I was angry at the police, like, and I'm not typically the against police guys, but I said in that moment, whatever happened to freeze, get on the floor, hands up, what happened to that procedure. But then, like I said, I got explained that it was beyond the point of like your regular police. The SWAT was involved, and when SWAT is involved, it's take this guy out. That was the situation they were in. The reason that the situation was so heightened is because this guy that called in made it seem like this guy was a dangerous threat. It's like he saw this guy and immediately something in his head was like, I got to get this person killed.
Yep.
Like, and I don't get it. It wasn't a real gun. It wasn't even loaded. It was a BB gun, a air gun. Like, and he just wanted this person dead for whatever the reason is.
Yeah.
If I was president, I'd change that shit. Besides banning hover rounds, but I would definitely change that shit.
Well, like I was like, see, this is the problem. Is like that situation. You can't compare that to like what happened to guys like George Floyd, for example, because it's like this was just a shitty misunderstanding. But that motherfucker, I was. It wasn't.
Don't call it a misunderstanding because that's going to annoy me. Because that guy had a fucking agenda. That guy.
No, I was saying by
made
cops.
That call with the intent of that dude being hurt or arrested.
Well, see, a misunderstanding about the cops because like they were being fed information. I'm saying no, that
Precisely.
fucking if I was a family of that fucking guy, I would have fucking got some kind of lawyer and just found a motherfucker who made the phone calls, and I would have just made a whole campaign of fucking social media, everything.
And that's the thing. Like I would have been directly on that path as well. I would have everything.
Seriously,
I would have dedicated my life to ruining his life because that shit was
now
the
you have to
shittiest thing you could do.
Now you gotta tell your two kids that their fucking dad is dead because this guy's a piece of shit on his fucking cell phone. This all could have been avoided, but you want to hop on your cell phone and just lie your fucking ass off, dude. That's fucked up.
And no charges. Like, no, this dude had... Fuck me, man.
I'll try doing a little funny one before I have a semi-serious one, but I know you guys seen this on my iMac before we started recording, but I found this just at happenstance. But yeah, so haven't we learned? But that's fine. But so right now we have genetically modified mosquitoes could be released in Florida and Texas beginning this summer. Is this a silver bullet or jumping the gun? So scientists have been genetically modifying mosquitoes, and they're going to put them into the population.
This is the thing with scientists. They always start out with good intent. Because I guarantee you, if they're modifying mosquito, there's some idea behind it of, some good intentions. But you know what they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yep.
You fucking stop modifying shit and releasing it to the wild. This is how we ended up with killer bees. People trying to genetically modify insects and let them into... Stop doing this and stop it.
So it's this summer it's almost like a bad fucking horror movie. This summer, for the first time, genetically modified mosquitoes could be released in the United States. So the company Oxitec received an experimental use... I like the word experimental. Isn't that how it always happens? It's like,
I love that the name almost is similar to, Oscorp or...
Umbrella.
Like...
So,
Oxitec. Villainous organization.
So, from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency to release millions, keyword millions, of genetically modified mosquitoes labeled by Oxitec as Ox5034 every week over the next 2 years in Florida and Texas. Females of this mosquito species, I can't even say that, but Aedes aegypti, whatever. So they're going to transmit dengue, chikungunya, yellow fever, and Zika viruses. When these lab-bred male mosquitoes are released to mate with the wild females, the offspring die. But they're trying to say that the males should eventually cause the temporary collapse of a wild population. Okay. So they're trying to say that they're genetically engineering them for disease control. So American chestnut trees that can survive blight and mosquitoes that can't spread disease are examples of how genetic engineering may transform the natural world. So, advances in genetic decoding and gene editing emerge with speed and enthusiasm. The ecological systems they could alter remain enormously complex and understudied. So,
now, if they would have said speed and cocaine, I would have agreed with that, but it definitely isn't speed and enthusiasm.
Well, apparently they said they've already been testing these mosquitoes in other countries, so thank God for that. Oxitec has trialed their mosquitoes in Brazil, the Cayman Islands, Malaysia, and Panama. So, yep.
Cool.
So yeah, so again, good part being about in fucking Texas, and I like too. They're showing like scientists and stuff. They're all around a big table of like cans of off, and it does make sense. Like, you ever notice that the past decade or so, you go out to a drive-in, maybe the fucking woods. Start spraying cans off, putting off lotion shit too, and they're just like ignoring the off and still biting the shit out of you like the office even there.
They had time to fucking get accustomed to it.
Holy Christ, but
like the fucking Borg, they adapt after every fucking thing.
Yeah, so already we got fucking so for June we have Jesus Christ, fucking mosquitoes, blood monkeys, and okay. So I can ask all three guys this too. I texted Al this a little bit yesterday, but I had to read more into it because I wanted to, get their population or opinions. Fucking drinking. But how did you feel about this, Al? Because I'm not sure how much you read into this about the whole. I texted you about Twitter, which is why I said too, Junior. I'm very cautious and kind of right now against making a fucking Twitter account because Twitter's holy Christ.
We gotta jump in fucking face first, man.
Hell yeah.
You gotta
jump in that shit, dunk my balls into that shit.
So
you would be the one to do that.
I'll get your opinions. Let me know how you feel about this. So, like anything. So we all fucking know. You guys know who Terry Crews is. I love Terry Crews.
Oh God.
Terry loves yogurt.
God, I know about this.
Yeah. So but I'm not sure. I didn't get Al's opinion because I wanted to wait to talk to him and Susan's opinion. But I love Terry Crews. I'll watch that man do anything. I've watched So anyway, he was on fucking Twitter, as always. Like, this is why I said with our podcast, Terry Crews will make a Twitter account, he'll make a tweet, he'll get 100,000 likes and 1,000 dislikes, and boy, those 1,000 dislikes act like they're gonna fucking lynch his ass.
Like they actually matter.
I mean, they are just fucking tearing, but it's amazing how the vast minority is tearing Terry apart like they're the majority and shit, so. I'm not sure fucking, if you guys knew what he tweeted, but...
What did he tweet?
Okay. All right, let's pop up 4. So, Terry Crews tweeted, this was on June 7th, 7:25 p.m. And tell me if this is wrong.
2 days ago?
He said that, an amazing, even this is over fucking just 100 fucking news outlets because everyone's bored. But he said that defeating white supremacy without white people creates black supremacy. Equality is the truth. Like it or not, we're all in. We are all in this together. Now, is that off the bat? How do you feel about that?
That's so loaded. I could talk about that forever.
Okay. But I mean, just off that, just that
white
tweet.
Supremacy without white people.
He said
leads to black supremacy.
And he said,
how does that?
Okay.
How does that happen?
And he said, equality is the truth, because Twitter, you only have so many things, so many words you can put in. He said, like it or not, everybody, we are all in this together. So, I mean, I just said, reading that too, I feel like he's saying that we are all in this together and we shouldn't leave people out. But of course, like I said, being a loaded question.
He worded it so wrong.
Yeah, the wording is what triggered everybody.
Yeah,
because the point he's making it's a valid point. Legitimately,
that's what I thought.
I get it, but his wording is triggering. Like it's almost like his wording feels like he's anti-black. That's what the wording feels like.
True.
From a black standpoint, that's what it feels like. I mean, I get what he's trying to say, and he's right. But
I mean,
defeating white supremacy leads to black supremacy is the most triggering shit you could say.
Which is exactly what happened. So, I mean, I'm not going to read
what he said, though, it's not defeating white supremacy creates black supremacy. That's
not what he said, but that's how it's interpreted.
He said...
I get what he said, that you need white people to defeat white supremacy.
You need white people to help you defeat it. You need to make it equal.
But what is heard is... if we defeat white supremacy, it leads to black supremacy. Which, on its face, is a triggering thought.
And that's exactly what happened.
His wording is all fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's bad. Like
it may be bad, but you know what? He probably got more people thinking and talking.
Again, he's not wrong. Like this is the truth. The reality of it is, in order to defeat white supremacy, we have to collectively stand together. It means white people, black people, Asians, Middle East, everybody. We need to collectively stand together. We absolutely need white people, especially in America, where white people are almost 70% of the population right now to date.
Yeah.
Right? We need white people. There's no questions in it. It's not even up for debate or discussion. We absolutely need white people to defeat white supremacy. The problem is when he throws in the rest of that into like the whole leads to black supremacy. First of all, I would like Terry Crews to explain how. How there aren't enough black people in the country for black supremacy to be a thing that could like be truly successful.
Yeah, and that's honestly that's what everybody's fucking saying. They're just like I said, I'm just gonna fucking throw out the top ones, but like Orlando Jones says, black supremacy ? We represent 13% of the U.S. population.
Wait, Orlando who?
Orlando Jones.
Oh, okay.
So I think blew him. He said we hold no institutional power and gaslight our coworkers. So and his directors, blah blah blah, people again, his people. They're for this, against this, but like Al was saying, so Terry did at the same night come back and say, please know that everything I've said comes from a spirit of love and reconciliation for the black community first, then the world as a whole, in hopes to see a better future for black people. So like Al was like, I think that this is a problem with fucking Twitter. If you don't spoon-fed every single fucking detail, people spend because they have nothing better to do and plenty of free time. They will fucking rip apart if you misspell a word wrong. Like,
understand, it's not the onus is not on the people to interpret what he's trying to say. It's on him to correctly make his point.
Yeah.
Like if you want people to understand what you're saying, you have to correctly state your point. Because I could say so. Like this is the problem. This is how a lot of people end up in trouble, where you say something with all the best intentions, but if you don't articulate it properly and it's interpreted wrong, then your whole statement means nothing. Exactly. Because I could say to you, have a nice day, but if have a nice day to you means fuck you, Chris, no matter how I try to say it with a smile on my face, it's going to make you defensive. Yeah. Right? It's just...
His final tweet, at least, this was for the night, because, I mean, Twitter's like, we'll be here all fucking day, but this was just the night, and I'll move on. But before he stopped tweeting for June 7th, he just put out, says, any black person who calls me a coon or an Uncle Tom for promoting equality is a black supremacist.
But this is the thing. He's defaulting to trying to protect himself by labeling people just like they're labeling him. Yeah. Right? And I'm not even mad at him for doing that. That's a defense mechanism, and that's fine. But my thing is, why say something so triggering? No, like he knew there is no way he didn't know how people were going to react. Yeah,
real.
Yeah, there's no way he didn't know that. Like there is absolutely no way. It's almost as if I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it.
Yeah,
but I could tell you honestly, to see people on Twitter overreact is not surprising to that. That's a triggering statement. But like I said, he's not wrong, right? Because even if black people rose up and tried on their own to defeat white supremacy, it couldn't happen because there's so many deeply ingrained sections of white supremacy that would just never go away. You know so black people couldn't do it on their own.
Yeah, you see it in the legal system. You see it.
It's in the legal system. It's in our political system. It's in our judicial system. It's in the local government. It's bad where you could actually. This is a thing that bothered me when Dylan Ruth walked into that church and shot 9 black people on a day of worship. They were unarmed. They were on their knees, and he went in there. He opened fire. He killed them.
When did this happen?
Dylan Ruth.
Yeah. Look up Charleston, South Carolina. How do you not know about that?
What? There's so much shit that goes on.
That made headlines for like 2 months.
I can't keep track of this. Like I said, every Facebook, every 5 minutes, I'm reading a new shooting article. It's just
but that one,
Dylan Ruth was a big.
That was a big deal.
This was also a couple years ago. This isn't recent.
Honestly, Junior, a couple years ago, how much shit just the past month of recording we've gone through in a month. Like
but I'm saying you can never forget about Dylan Ruth.
My thing with Dylan Ruth,
I can't remember my goddamn birthday half the time.
Well, I mean that's
he can't remember his kid's birthday.
I mean,
or his mom's, and his mom's is actually a national holiday.
Well, that's because his attention span is that of a squirrel. But
more like an ant.
Yeah, but this happened in 2015. This was 5 years ago.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, like Alice, like honestly, remember what I 5 years ago? Because the past 5 years, how many shootings since then we've seen, and how many fucking mass murders we've seen since then? It's like.
But that one was big because it was beyond innocent. Like you went to a place.
He walked into a church and pulled a gun and murdered fucking 9 black people that were in church worshiping. This is the thing that was upsetting about it. When he got arrested, they took him for breakfast. Took him to Burger King, got burgers and everything. Took him to the police station, booked him, brought him in. Yeah. Then on the internet, there was all these alt-right guys. He was their champion.
Jesus.
This guy is now a hero in the white supremacy circle. And he was all his social media is about him and the Confederate flag, and he was saying how he was trying to start this race war. He was one of them that we need to start the race war. And what made me realize how deeply ingrained the white supremacist, racist thinking is that there were people that were saying things about him, saying good things about him, that were in positions of power. They were like police chiefs and fucking, like mayors of certain towns and shit like that. And it was crazy because a lot of these people kind of got called out but didn't get into any trouble. which was a clear eye-opener for most of the fucking nation. Where it was like, yeah, this guy is on this website saying that Dylan Ruth is a hero and he's going to be remembered and, this and that. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? How is this okay?
Oh, this was June of 2015. Honestly, if I can remember what I was doing in 2015.
It's fucking insane, dude.
On top of it, this is why I also said, for the most part, it wasn't for this podcast. I generally don't actually even fucking check Facebook or check news because so much goes fucking on. It's like anybody. We've all been there. I've even told Alan the past couple of days. I'll be at work. I'll check Facebook for about 3 times. Like when I've read about it's been shot down, but I was mentioning TikTok. We have fun with TikTok and we see the stupidity. When I read about the George Floyd challenge, I'm like, you know what? My phone for the rest of the day, I'm turning my phone off. I'm good. And in fact, it took that long. I was surprised it took that long to happen.
The thing that blew my mind is that these guys did that, without fear of the backlash. This is what I'm telling you, how ingrained it is. Like, that's a scary, scary thought that they're like, oh, fuck it. We could do this and this is okay.
That's why I said, for the most part, I generally have been checking my phone less and less and less because of shit like this, where it's like I would say, you can't find a day where it's like somebody didn't microwave a fucking baby or something, or just like after a while, it's just like, I can't, I'm done. So it's like, I'm reading his whole article now. It's fucked up what this guy did. I mean, it's just like, Jesus Christ. But since then, how many fucking schools have been shot up and shit too, and it's
by troubled teens. That was a crazy part, by the troubled teen. They say it's troubled teens that did it. Like, what's crazy was just that. Speaking of that, like with the whole mass shootings and stuff like that, it was like, when that 58-year-old man killed 58 people with automatic rifles. Because they went to I think it was a rave in Las Vegas. Yeah. And
it was a 3-day country concert.
Yeah, but they sat there, and you went. How did the thing that kills me? You bring all of those guns into a hotel. That just comes to show you just the lack of attention that anybody was paying attention to him.
You know how many times I said that exact same thing? I was like, how the fuck did this guy get half that many guns? The amount of weapons and ammo that he walked into that place with, like,
and nobody caught it.
Dude, like,
there was a gun convention. Get the fuck out of here. You're still paying attention to that shit.
There's no way he should have been able to do that shit.
Come on, you bring that much guns into the hotel, and then you're literally mowing people down. And you sit there and say, well, this guy had mental problems and stuff like that. The thing that kills me more than anything is that, and I hate to say this, but it's the truth. There was a kid that was in high school that shot a gun into the air because he was tired of getting bullied. It was a black kid. Okay. I don't remember which state it was. Hold up. I think it was in Florida. It was a black kid that...
So he shot a gun into the air?
Yeah, he shot a gun into the air. He was labeled a domestic terrorist in the New York Post, and he was sentenced like an adult. We still haven't heard about the sentencing from the guy at who did all the school shootings. Like that one kid that had the red hair that shot up that theater in Colorado.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was a troubled teen.
Wasn't that Mark?
He looked like Mark.
That was the opening of that was the premiere of the Batman, one of the new Batman movies.
Jen, was this in El Paso?
Right.
I think it was probably in I don't remember which state it was in, but I know that it was a black kid that shot a gun. He shot the gun once into the air at school because he got tired of getting bullied at school. That's what happened, and he was labeled a domestic terrorist. And then there was these people that shoot up these schools and things like that. Like, they literally shot up the school, killed numerous people. They're troubled teens. They're, you know what I'm saying? It's just like people. It's like it's the labeling that's just ridiculous in the media. It's the labeling.
It's done on purpose, though.
It is.
There's a tactic behind it. If you notice that whenever a black person does something, the entire black race gets pinned to it. Sort of. Like if the Bloods and the Crips have created these gangs, and those gangs have been at war, and then because of the Bloods and the Crips, it's become all black people are criminals, all black people are thugs. They're 13% of the population, and all of them, commit crime or whatever. That's where it happened. But when the tables are turned, and if a white guy does it, it becomes, well, this white guy individually, singularly, has a mental problem, so him by himself is sick, and him on his lonesome needs to be treated for his mental sickness. They'll never make him a collective of the group because the people that control media that wants to feed us whatever message they want to feed us don't want us to look at it as all of them connected to one, which I don't have a problem with that because they all shouldn't be lumped into one. Yeah. The problem is black people get that treatment all the time, right? And it's like I always want to make the argument of when a white person does it, you could see that he's an individual and him by himself was a lone wolf that flew off the deep end. But if a black person does it, look at how all these black people behave, right? Yeah. That always bothered me. Because every time I go somewhere, I have to be...
The problem with it is, not to cut you off, Al. The problem with it is there's good and bad in every race.
That's true.
We all know this. The problem is the media is fucked up. Yeah. Always has been, always will be. And the media is the main drive behind any divide there is. because they always show the bad shit. They never show anything good. They never show anything. They never paint it in an equal standpoint.
You know, it's funny that I sent a message to CNN like one time because they tried to message me about some dumb shit with Donald Trump. And I messaged them back. I said, so how about you actually give us news that we can actually look up to? Like, how come I had to look deep into a news article to find that LeBron James opened up an I Promise school that promises to literally send kids to college after they graduate from that school?
Yeah.
Like, it was a K through 12 school, and they go to that school, and when they graduate from that school, they have a guaranteed 4-year ride through college, in which if they excel and if they wanted to get a master's, they can get scholarship opportunities if they do well to go that extra mile in school. But you're guaranteed a 4-year education through school.
But
that's a good thing.
I can guarantee you, if LeBron James did something illegal, they'd be all over it.
Oh yeah, of course. And then when I sent that to CNN, of course they ignored my message. But it was just the fact that, okay, you looked at my message, but you completely ignored it because you know that these news media outlets are pieces of shit. Mm-hmm. And they're controlled by the government. And then this is what I'm saying, because the government fears unity. I hate to say it, but the government fears unity.
That's a fact. That's a well-known fact. The government fears, like, if we
no matter who is in the offices in the U.S., black, white, brown,
doesn't matter.
Does not matter. They do not want the American people to be united in any way, shape, or form.
Because understand, if we come together, we like the people are supposed to. We're the ones that are supposed to run the country. At any point that we unify and collectively come together, like, there's nothing they could do. They can't control the military over us. Like, we will have the say when it's all said and done, and they don't want that. The people in power want to stay in power.
Yep.
But I want to talk. You reminded me of something that I wanted to talk about. Like, Chris has sent me a video the other day.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Before you hit that out, let me just finish with the Terry Crews thing, because I'm just going to read the top 3 tweets and we're done. But no, like you're saying, Alex, like, whether the message was sound or not, so this is the whole thing with fucking Twitter. Before people say, like, listen, maybe it was worded wrong. Maybe we should talk about this stuff too. Off the bat, just here comes a name calling. They call him a fucking... Like, Twitter won't fucking let people, call him a fucking nigger because Twitter's that much. But again, said that too. They say things like Uncle Tom, coon, you're supporting white supremacy, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, I'll even read one comment from the Quartering. He's just like, only in the black community will you see them parade each other by the level of quote-unquote darkness in their skin and push anyone who isn't part of the hive mind out as a coon. He's like, why do people do this for? But there's just so many fucking... Christ. It's like this guy said, the top 3 tweets. It's funny how black folks stop being black when they don't follow the narrative. But it's like, but we'll be here all day with that. But like I was saying, the second he said...
I want to respond to that. There's a reason behind that, because people want to try to make it seem like it's as cut and dry as, oh, we don't go with what you want us to go with, so now I'm a coon or whatever. Yeah. But this is the reality of it. When you're in a structure where everybody is against you, and then you have people within the structure that are also against you, like it's like imagine all of us in this room we're some kind of development that's based in this house, and outside on the rest of the street, everybody is against us. All 4 of us have to stick together to fight together.
Yeah.
Then you find out that Junior is working for somebody on the outside.
Yeah.
That's a devastating situation to be in, like for the most part. And that's how black people in America feel. We feel like everybody is against us. So when you have people working against the cause, like if you're fighting for a cause, you want equality, and then you have this one person preaching against it, it feels like this person is trying to sell you out to be accepted by the outside forces. That's what it feels like. Now, I'm not saying that's what Terry Crews is doing. I'm saying that everybody that's looking at him and listening to his messaging feels that way, because that thing that he put out is fucking triggering, dude. Like, no matter how you want to slice it, that's like there is 1,000 ways that could have been said without him getting the effect. Like, the fact that he did that, it almost feels like he did it on purpose to be triggered so he could play the victim. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Because he could have said that 1,000 ways without being triggering, without triggering the masses.
Now, what do you think, like, I mean, because I know you said it, but like, what's triggering about when he uses a term like black supremacy? What is triggering people with that?
What's triggering about it is because he's implying that if we somehow defeat white supremacy, it's going to lead to black supremacy.
Okay.
Now, I get that it's not what he actually said, but it's how it's going to be interpreted.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, if you don't want black people to succeed, then what are you doing? If you don't want us to defeat white supremacy, then what are you about? Right? Because if the plan is let's collectively defeat white supremacy, but he's making it seem like that's not what he wants. Right? Now understand, what he actually said and how it's interpreted is two different things. Because what he actually said is a completely different thing than how it's being interpreted.
Yeah.
But the reason it's being interpreted that way is because of the way he phrased it. Yeah. And he knows that it's a trick. Like, there is no way he doesn't know that that's a triggering phrase. The way he phrased that sentence is triggering, and he knows it. So if he knows it and he said it anyway, what's the end game? What's the game plan? What does he expect out of it?
Yeah.
Like, is it a ploy just to make himself, just to get attention for himself, or like what's happening?
Well, that's why I said, like, it's hard for me to, like, to, like, at this point what to say. Like, I told you yesterday, like, I'm not going to get into the spiel right now, but we know J.K. Rowling, the author, and she created all the Harry Potter books, and she's a billionaire. She's recently come out and had some opinions about trans issues, and without getting into it, me and an individual just had a conversation about, the term sex and gender. I said, listen, we'll spend hours debating this. All I said was that when you hear things like same-sex marriage, what do you think? It's a man to man or woman to woman. And people try to say, well, sex and gender are two different things. I was like, that to me is a play on words. Money in American language has 50 different words that describe money. It's the same thing. Yeah. I just said when people try saying, well, when someone says sex, do you mean gender, and sex and gender? I was like, when the average fucking person saying this stuff too, when they say I support or I don't support same-sex marriages, when you think same-sex in legal terms, same-sex still means same gender. Simple as that. And they're trying to say, like, well, she's fucking wrong because sex and gender aren't the same thing. Like, well, most people it is though. It is. Well, it's like, J.K. Rowling, she's coming under a lot of fuck heat because she's transphobic, because me and Al have talked about this, which we will in a future podcast, but J.K. Rowling was supporting a woman. A woman got fired from her job because she wasn't at work. She said on her off time that, I don't feel that a man can turn into a woman. And that's her opinion. That's how she felt. Her job fired her. So, and
see, that's like, there's not the. Yeah. I hate the whole fire them for an opinion thing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like when you start to actively do stuff that affects the business, then it's a different thing. Yeah. But if you say, well, this is just what I think, and if the thought process isn't dangerous on its own, then what's the point of firing her?
Yeah. That's almost wrongful termination.
Yeah, it's almost like I fired you because I disagree with you. Well, it's exactly that. I fired you because I disagree with you.
And I agree with that too. It's like, you said, it's one thing if anybody listening or anybody here, if I hop on my employer's website, even on my own time, if I say I want to hurt people, if I wish death upon people, if that's one
dangerous,
thing. Exactly.
So the company will get rid of you.
Like, but if I say, like, this is the fucking opinion, which is because the whole trans thing is damn sure, especially recently, becoming a newer and newer thing. More companies have to start reassessing and rechanging how their human resource policies have this. But like we've said in the fucking past, a lot of people would say, well, according to science and facts and biology and blah, 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 you can't become a woman. Now, some people could say, well, you can. That is an opinion. But like you said, if a woman just says, hey, listen, and a woman flat out said, and J.K. Rowling said, I don't want anybody to be hurt. I don't want anybody to be attacked. But in J.K. Rowling, I'll pull up her fucking tweet in a second. She said, I am for anybody supporting who you are, love who you want to be, sleep with who you want to sleep. But she's like, I don't support a person losing her job because she has an opinion. That I agree with. And of course, here's fucking Twitter. J.K. Rowling's a fucking piece of shit. I'm a transgender person. I used to love Harry Potter. I'm not going to support Harry Potter no more because you're fucking phobic. And like, all she said was like, I don't believe in a woman getting fired for her opinion. How does it make me? That's Twitter for you. So even when you're being as harmless as possible, you're still a piece of shit.
This is something that, honestly, this is just something that we got to bring up in a future podcast, because mentioning it now when we can't, when we don't want to dive too much in, this is an issue we have to dive into.
I only want to say this about it. Like, when it comes to transphobic issues and homosexual issues, gay, lesbians, whatever, the whole LGBTQ and the extra letters. The way I feel about it is like this. I legitimately, and I know most people aren't going to agree with me, but I legitimately don't care about a person's sexuality or I don't give a fuck. The only thing that drives me is this. At the end of the day, subtract their sexuality from the conversation. They are human beings. They are American citizens. They have the same rights as every other citizens. We all have those rights.
Yep.
Because Constitution gives us those rights free and clear for being born in this nation. That is it. Like, regardless of what their sexuality is, the discussion of whether you agree with transgenders and homosexuality, that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
The conversation I'm having now is, regardless of how you feel about their sexuality or whether you think that it's a real thing or not, at the end of the day, they are still human beings and they still have the same rights. They deserve the rights. So because you disagree with what they're going through, because you don't understand it or you don't agree with it or whatever, you can't trounce on their rights just because you don't agree with them. It's just ridiculous.
I agree. I 100% agree with that.
This right here, this is J.K. Rowling's tweet. This is from December 19th of 2019. She said, "Dress however you please. Call yourself whatever you like. Sleep with any consenting adult who will have you. Live your best life in peace and security. But force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real? Question mark." And she goes, "I stand with Maya because this woman was fired." And she just said, this woman said that sex is real. It's like same sex or different sexes. That's real.
Ultimately, they fired her for having an opinion. And I get not liking somebody's opinion. That's fine. You could disagree with a person. Yeah. But to fire her because you disagree with her opinion is, like I said, her opinion isn't her saying that my opinion is that sex is this way. I don't know if that's, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if that was a reason to fucking get rid of her. Like,
so Maya Forstater got fired, and she said that, she tweeted, "Smart people I admire. They're tying themselves in knots to avoid saying the truth that men cannot change into women because," in quotation marks, "because that might hurt men's feelings." And all she said was that the truth is men cannot change into women. Many people feel that way, that you can't, and a lot of people feel too, through surgeries and through cosmetics too, you're still not going to change your gender. And again, that's in a fucking opinion. There's no scientific facts to back this up too. But like you said, this is an opinion. She didn't say death upon anybody or I want anybody. She just said, no, my opinion is, but here's okay. So you have an opinion, say goodbye to your job.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not like she was outright like, I'm anti-transgender.
Exactly.
I'm against the trans people, or it's not like she was on some kind of mission.
And now J.K. Rowling, because she said, I support that. I don't feel that this woman should have lost her job. You're fucking with her. Now you're guilty by association. Like you're just as bad as fuck her. Now you're fucking transphobic. And she's like, hold up a second. So like,
I'm not going to defend any opinion that I have about the whole thing. And like I said, I'm not going to dive too deep into this now because this is a ridiculously deep topic because it doesn't really affect me that much, but at the same time, I have a lot to say about how she lost her job and things like that. Like, she definitely shouldn't have lost her job. And it's just, the people who are, I said this once and I say it again, the people who are offended have the loudest voice.
Yep.
When they go on social media and things like that and they get offended, they go crazy on social media because that's just where their voice is. They go crazy with calling corporations. They go crazy with, they go crazy with just going out of their way to just sit there and be like, yeah, what this person says is not right and stuff like that. The people who don't say much, for the most part, the people who don't say much is the people who have logic. The people who understand, like for me, for example, it's like I'm not going to go on Twitter and argue with somebody about these issues. Why? Because the way I speak, and I speak for myself on this, the way that I speak and the way that I talk to people, I speak with logic. So it's like from a logical standpoint, there's a lot of things that go on that doesn't make any sense. So from her standpoint, when she says a man can't become a woman, okay, you can, in my opinion, you can, but you're not going to have the same features. If you want to sit there and you want to, guy wants to cut his dick off and, become a woman, take the hormones, develop features of a woman. Okay. But you're never going to be a woman. That's my stance on it. You know what I'm saying?
And tomorrow when you go to work, be prepared to get fired.
You know, it's just like, that's honestly how I feel. It's just like, because when there was a post on Facebook that said trans man gives birth.
Your opinion is totally valid. Like, I agree 100%. If you feel that way, you have a right to say that. Like, this is the whole thing. The whole thing with people. The first thing that bothers me is that companies are so afraid of dealing with backlash. Like, the minute somebody calls the company and is like, oh, well, this person said this, the company's like, oh, shit, potential trouble. I got to get rid of anything that could lead to trouble. And they fire you. Yep. And what's crazy about that is, it's one thing if this girl was on a mission like, I'm transphobic and I hate the gays and if she was on that level, I'd be like, yeah, get rid of her because she's dangerous for your business. Like, she's going to cause you trouble, right? Yeah. But if she simply says, well, my opinion is this, a man can't become a woman, that's a valid opinion. That's the way she feels. Like, there are people who would argue tooth and nail, who would debate it, but at the end of the day, it's a discussion that people could have. Like, you believe it, one person believes it, one person doesn't. Those people could talk to each other and say, this is why I don't think it is, this is why I think it is, and that's fine. But to say, oh, so she has an opinion of a man can't become a woman, that's what she thinks? No, I got to get rid of her because I don't want any kind of backlash to my business. And for the people that are so easily triggered, like you know, it's like Dave Chappelle said, I heard him say this in several of his stand-ups, like, America has become real brittle. Like, this is a brittle ass. We have become so brittle. Every little thing is a reason for somebody to be triggered.
Yep.
Like, everything.
That's why it's pussy culture now.
Yep.
Yeah, but like Al said, we'll get into this in a second, because I texted Al a article yesterday, which is like, it's funny, even Saturday, Al was saying this, like, I am not anti-fucking cop. I am not anti-fucking police. And
I'm not, and I never will be.
And and a couple days later, I texted you an article. So, I mean, shit. I texted you an article yesterday, we were like, holy fuck. And I've had conversation with my friend Carlton, obviously Elliot too, about the whole, what just happened yesterday now with fucking Minnesota and Minneapolis, and like, boy.
Yo, that thing, I was looking up, when they talk about defunding the police in Minneapolis, there's a whole conversation behind that, because immediately when I heard the term defund and disband the police force, immediately that shit irritated me. I was like, why the fuck would you think getting rid of the police force is the answer? Right? But I've had conversations with two people today. Well, one person yesterday and one person today about that went into like a deep explanation. We actually sat down and looked up what the plan is for defunding, right? Okay. It's not as simple as we're just going to kick the police force out, right? It's reduction of the police force, reduction of the money, and putting the money into different things. And my friend today, the conversation I had today, my friend explained something to me. She said, consider how like different areas are policed. It's like, realize that places that have good schools and high property value, they don't sink a lot of money into their police force. The money that comes from the federal and the state, they take that money, they sink it into the schools, into the hospitals, into those children go to schools that are fully funded. They have books, they have good teachers, and in communities, in good communities with low crime rates, they don't have a heavily funded police force. They have heavily funded schools, heavily funded libraries, heavily funded hospitals, and like they have all these doctors, like psychological doctors, physical doctors, everybody. They have all these things where they put money into to make sure that in that community, the people are healthy, smart, and able to move on into the future. Okay. In other communities where the police force are heavily funded, other things are underfunded. Yeah. The libraries are underfunded, schools are underfunded, hospitals are underfunded, and police forces take up like something like $200 million a year in certain places. Damn. And you have a place where the kids have no books in the school, where the teachers are actually asking the parents to come in and bring books in. Yeah. Like, in a situation, like when you understand that is the situation, you think to yourself, is defunding the police really that bad in neighborhoods that need better education, where they need like more psychiatrists for the people. They need they need better teachers and more education for the children. They need better things. They need like you take any of the really good neighborhoods in this country, they are not heavily policed, and they don't dump a bunch of money into the police force.
Look at Clifton Park. Clifton Park is a perfect example because they don't even have a police precinct up there.
Like I was, well, this is the, I guess, the not counter argument, but the question I would have is the opposite side is like, if you have an area, obviously, that has a very low crime rate, you're probably thinking that I don't need to fund a lot of cops because, like, you know, some towns have like one cop because nothing fucking goes on there.
Well, this is the problem. You know? The reason that things happen in high crime areas are because the people are uneducated. The schools are underfunded, so they don't get a good education at school. If you're not getting a good education at school, what do? You drop out of school. If you drop out of school, what do you have to do to make money? Likely turn to crime. Yeah. Right. This is the loop that people are stuck in. If you give people an out, like the reason that they like, and this is a question I had asked before too. Like, does it make sense to you?
Chip.
Tuesday night. What happens Tuesday night? Oh, does it make sense to you that certain neighborhoods are heavily policed, but the crime rate never goes down?
Yeah.
Like, does that make sense that they dump all this money into policing, and these police are out in force in high crime areas, but the crime rate never decreases? And then you have places where there are no police, where it would make more sense that if I'm a criminal and there ain't no cops over here, this is where I'm going to go commit crime. But those places with no police have no crime. Does it make sense?
I would assume this, and this is like from my personal experiences and us, Junior and Susan, we've all lived in certain neighborhoods and stuff too. You ever heard like, okay, certain neighborhoods have neighborhood watches. Certain neighborhoods have neighbors that take care of their own. Like, for example, Carlton. My friend Carlton, he moved into a nice, it's not even fucking white, it's multicultural neighborhood in New Hampshire. Carlton's in there within the fucking first week, and he has every neighbor, hi, how you doing and stuff too. Here's a cake or something. Here's like some brownies, and like everybody in his neighborhood introduced themselves to one who Carlton was and his fucking wife. Hey, you guys need us? We're the Smiths, we're the Joneses, we're whoever. Stop by. Everyone in the fucking neighborhood knows Carlton. If so much as like a skunk breaks out, the whole fucking neighborhood's like, hey, look, there's a skunk and shit. Everyone knows about that. There's certain fucking neighborhoods in fucking Albany. I don't know. I can't tell you the names of any of my fucking neighbors down this goddamn block and shit.
Okay, let me ask you a question. That neighborhood that you say is a really great neighborhood.
Yeah.
What do you think happens to that neighborhood if they defund the school and defund the hospital, take away libraries, and offer the people that live there the lowest form of possibility of success? They just do that to that singular neighborhood. What do you think happens to it?
Well, people get stupid. People get dumber.
And then what? What it leads to is if you're not smart enough to graduate high school and go to college and get a degree and get a job, the only avenue that's open to you is crime. The reason that those communities succeed is because they're set up to succeed.
Yeah.
Everything is funded for that neighborhood to succeed. The police aren't funded. It isn't a situation where there is no crime, so the neighborhood is good. It's the neighborhood is set up that way. Yeah. Because they are given everything they need to succeed in that neighborhood. If you start, and this is a fact, if they started heavily funding the police in that neighborhood, even though there's no crime, and they start having the police regularly run routes in 3 police stations in every corner, the value of that neighborhood is going to immediately go down. Yeah. People are going to start pulling out. And once people start leaving and they do a census and they say, oh, this place doesn't have this much people, immediately what's going to happen is, well, if they only have this amount of people and they only need this amount of money for whatever, for the school, for this, for that, then immediately they start undercutting all the important things. Once that starts to happen, it leaves you with a population of people that are committing crime.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think I've lived in, like, okay, for instance, this neighborhood, like, years ago when I was a teenager, with Junior's Uncle Willie, we had Carlton, we had Clarence, but this entire fucking block, we had about 20 fucking kids. And this is almost like the whole, like, you know, the cliche of like the whole like older black neighborhoods. Comedians would say this stuff too, where you'd have the older neighborhoods where it's like, if you had, like, you know, my friend Willie's fucking mom, she was just as much as my mom as my own fucking mother, and Clarendon and just all the fucking neighborhood fucking kids. But it seems like neighborhoods and stuff too, everybody kind of like watched out for each other's kids. They took care of their own. For the most part, your neighbor and your whole fucking neighborhood, everyone had each other's fucking back. You know, people would look out for each other. A lot of poorer neighborhoods and shit too, you have like 20 fucking houses on this freaking block, and everybody is so busy trying to like worry about my neighbor stealing my shit. You know, it's like there's some neighborhoods where it's like, you know what, the cops ain't gonna fucking help us. We have to watch our own, you know? And there's some neighborhoods where it's like, well, the cops ain't gonna fuck help us, and we're all too busy trying to kill each other to actually succeed and come through. You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely places you can move to where it's like you feel like people will look out for you and your fucking family. Other spots you move into and you're like, damn, I can't like some places you can go to and you can keep your doors unlocked at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Some places you have to put fucking bars in your windows and shit too, you know what I mean? And they put an alarm system and stuff, and like I don't know what that is, because it's like that's a people issue sometimes. But like you're saying, Al, too, it's like it makes you wonder too with people that would do studies and stuff too. If there's a high police presence and these neighborhoods aren't getting better, it's like maybe the people, it's like, is it they don't want to get better or they can't get better?
It's because the problem is the neighborhood isn't set up to succeed.
Yeah.
A neighborhood can't succeed. It's like I can't come to you and say, Chris, go get rid of white supremacy.
Yeah.
That's a stupid thing to say, right? In order for that to happen, leaders have got to be on board. Legislators have got to be on board. For our presidents, our governors, our congressmen, our senate, everybody, our mayors, everybody has got to be on board to the effect of creating laws that staunches the flow of this thing that's affecting. In a black neighborhood, we'll have like this. I wanted to talk about the guy that said what he said, because he was kind of trying to make the point of, he feels like Black Lives Matter is bullshit because there's black on black crime and nobody's doing anything about that.
Yep.
But they're crying and moaning when a cop kills a black person. And it made me cringe when I heard it, because it's the stupidest and most dangerous thing any black person could say. Because equating two things that have nothing to do with each other is dangerous. Because what you're doing is you're basically saying it's okay for the cops to kill black people because criminals exist.
Yeah.
It's almost like saying like the Bloods and the Crips have wars with each other, so it's perfectly fine that every other black citizen that's obeying the law and living normally, it's okay for us to be gunned down by the cops because black on black crime exists. It's dumb. You would never hear any other person say. You would never hear a white person say it's fine for the police to shoot us because the KKK exists.
Yeah.
You would never hear a Hispanic person say it's fine for the cops to murder us because Latin Kings exist. You would never hear an Italian man say, well, the mafia exists, so kill us all.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's a dumb thing. It's the two things don't equate. What the police are doing when they brutalize people of color is one issue. Criminality in any community is a different issue. If like there is, and I hate when people try to say black on black crimes, because that's not a thing. People commit murder in proximity to where they are.
Yeah.
That means that if you're in a predominantly white area, the crimes are going to be done by white people.
Yeah.
If you're in a predominantly Hispanic area, the crimes are going to be done by Hispanics. That's how it works. In a black area, the crimes are going to be done by black people. Now, this guy is trying to make the point that, well, I saw a guy get shot over here and a guy get shot over here. What do you think the average black person could do about the Bloods and the Crips? How am I supposed to disband the Bloods and the Crips? I can't. Our leaders have to be involved in that. And the fact that he said, oh, nobody's doing anything about crime is on its face a bold-faced lie. Yeah. There are a lot of people trying to stem the flow of crime in the black community. There are all types of programs being created. There are all kinds of after-school programs where people are trying to bring the young kids in, teach and educate them, and trying to activate their mind and make them want to learn, get involved in science and math and all these other things. There are all types of programs, especially in Chicago, where guys are working the hardest, because Chicago is the deadliest city for black people.
Yeah.
And them guys over in Chicago are working the hardest to create situations where guys don't, like young children aren't influenced by the gangs and they don't want to reach out to the gangs. There are a lot of people working hard to make sure that black boys don't become black men who commit crime. Yeah. So this guy is sitting in his car and making a video saying, oh, well, yeah, I just saw this guy got killed in this corner and this guy got... Well, if you're seeing these guys get killed in the corner, you know who you're supposed to be able to call? The police.
Yeah.
The problem is the police are killing us at the same rate that the Bloods and the Crips are, that the criminals are, right? And if I can't call the police to help me when I witness crime in my community, where the fuck does that leave me?
Yeah.
Where does it leave me? When I witness crime in my community, I can't reach out to the police, because the police are the people that we pay our tax dollars to protect us, right? And this is why I always say, we can't get rid of the police force. We need them. We need the police. We have to work with the police. The police need to find better ways to interact within communities of people that distrust them. Like me and Chris had a conversation where he brought up the point of, well, what about all these people that basically the no snitch rule. Like, don't communicate with the police or whatever the case is.
Yep.
Well, here's the thing. There's been a history of being brutalized by the police, being lied on by the police, being set up by the police, being murdered by the police. There's over 80,000 cases in America right now of police who've been arrested and charged for planting guns and or drugs on a person. And it's not a situation of I think he did it, or he might have do it, or it's my word against yours. No, these are cases of video recorded evidence of this police planting stuff to make a case. Now, when you have that many cases across the nation, it's telling you, imagine what was happening before people started being recorded, before they started getting caught on camera. Mm-hmm. Before it was the point where you walked into a store and every 4 fucking inches of the store, there's a camera looking at you in every direction. Yeah. And this is what people have to do to protect themselves. It's like the police is an entity that should protect the people, right? But there are those police that would go out of their way to do dumb shit and illegal shit. And here's the thing: we all hear people say, "Well, there's a few bad apples that spoil a whole bunch," which is a concept I'm willing to co-sign. I'm willing to get on board and say, okay, that is the case. The problem becomes when all the good cops do absolutely nothing, because when you're complicit, you become a bad cop, right? When you don't do anything and you let these guys slide because these guys are doing this, right? There are a lot of cops doing this. The cops have got to be better. We need to pass, like, our leaders need to pass laws, need to create legislation that controls what the police are able to do. And they need to train the police to interact better. Like, I sent you, I don't know if you got it, but I sent you a clip of a new thing they created where it deploys like a type of lasso. Yeah. So instead of like electrocuting you or shooting you or coming at you with a rubber bullet, they shoot this thing and it comes out, it ties you up, basically. Yeah. That's a way better way to even begin, which it's a far step from where I want the relationship with the police to be, but it's a step in the right direction. Yeah. Because police should not have carte blanche to do whatever they want. And the way how the laws are written right now, everybody that's ever been assaulted by a police will tell you, look up the laws that govern police behavior in any district, in any part of this country. Yeah. You know how hard it is to bring like fucking, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, if you want to basically hold the police accountable for something he might have done, you know how hard that is? Like, it's almost impossible. It's very few. For all the times that police have done brutal shit, it's very few times that they are punished or reprimanded in any way for it. Very few.
To kind of refute your argument with the whole good cops stopping the bad cops thing, there's a lot of videos and a lot of times that's out where good cops do stop bad cops, but shortly after they lose their jobs. And
that was another part of the argument I was going to make. I'm very happy when a good cop steps in and stops a bad cop, but here's the problem. A lot of the times that the cops don't want to interact is because they know that the repercussions for interacting, for trying to stop this guy from doing some crazy shit, is detrimental to his career. Yep. Like, he knows that if I step in and I say, yo, don't do this because it's wrong or whatever, not only are the cops going to, because this is documented, it's on file, there are many cops who have cases against their police fucking stations that they work for because they did something, they saw something that wasn't right, they reported it, and then they're in trouble behind it. You know, now it's like, well, this guy's on suspension, he's on unpaid leave, he's out, whatever. And it's a crazy thing. Like, the cops need to be held to a higher standard. I hate the whole video that this guy did is basically saying that we are going to hold cops to the same standard that we hold criminals to, which is stupid. That is stupid. A criminal is a criminal. He doesn't follow any laws. He doesn't follow any guidelines. He's a criminal. We don't pay him to fucking break the law. He's breaking the law because he's a fucking criminal. Yep. However, we do pay the cops to protect us from the criminals, right? So when the cops become the criminals, where does it leave us? And in communities where it's like largely minority, the cops are usually criminals. Yeah. Like, and that's crazy.
Well, and then also too, that's why they need to make laws to protect cops when, you know, if in a sense, and I'm going to quote this, if a good cop stops a bad cop from doing those things, they also need to have their jobs protected. Absolutely. There should be some sort of rule saying that the precinct can't fire the cops for stopping another cop from using excessive force.
Exactly.
Because there's so many, a lot of those lawsuits that these police departments have paid out was the former cops of those departments that's lost their jobs because they stopped other bad cops from using excessive force. So it's there, but this is the sort of knowledge that a lot of people don't know because of the fact that everybody keeps saying, well, none of the quote good cops are doing anything about it. They are doing something about it, and then their careers are ending.
Yeah, they're paying a price for it.
Yeah, they're paying a price for it, and it's a price they shouldn't be paying. So now they can't feed their families. They can't go to the store. They can't, they can't pay their bills. They can't feed their families. They can't do any of that. Like, they're stuck because of the fact that because they did the right thing. And that's as far as I can take the cop side on. That's as far as I'm going to go with that, because that's also the case. It's not just cops, because it's true. Not every single cop is doing things like this. It's 100% true. Yeah. But the good cops don't get recognized because they're no longer on the force. Like, that's why they don't get recognized, because they don't have their jobs after being the good cop. Yeah. After, it's like, okay, if you got the person in custody, put them in the car and be on your way. But then you got other people that's using excessive force. And the people that's using the excessive force has their jobs, while the people who stop the people from using excessive force lose their jobs.
It's fired and forgot about and brought up on charges.
Exactly. And the thing that pisses me off even the most is, I said this once and I'll say it again. Police are civil servants of the law, paid by citizens of the United States to serve and protect. But instead, what's been going on is that they're using intimidation and fear. And what they're doing is using excessive force way too many times to get to bring if you already have the person in custody, why are you using even more force? The person is in handcuffs. You have the squad car right there. Put him in the car and be about your business. Why are you pinning him down on the ground? That is a problem. That's excessive force. You already have him in custody. He's in cuffs and there's 3 people on top of him. It's 100% unnecessary. Yeah. That's how detailed, but nobody gets detailed. All they see is what they see, which is true, is the important part. The knee was on the neck. You stop the blood from going into the brain. He eventually suffocates. He dies. Blood was coming out of his mouth. He said he couldn't breathe, and then the knee was still on the neck. That is the problem. That is what people see. He was brutally murdered on camera. And then people will sit there and say, well, don't record it. Just get in there. I'm like, okay, so you can be brought up on charges. Exactly, so you can sit there and have something like that. What they did was they recorded the situation because they literally recorded the murder. And after the murder, followed the protests and the riots. And what happened? The guy got arrested for murder. What's sad is that it took a riot for him to get arrested for murder. Because at first he just got fired. But there were no charges filed. There was none of that. All he was fired. So he didn't get arrested and had charges put on him until the protests and the riots actually happened. And that is what the problem is. The problem is just that there's some sort of immunity that's out on cops right now in court where they don't get charged the same as other criminals. So a cop can outright murder somebody and he's not going to get murder 1 like somebody like you or me. You or me, if we sat there and I pointed a gun at somebody and I shot him and killed him, I'm going to court. I'm going to trial for murder 1. But if a cop sits there and does that, they're going for manslaughter. That, there's a certain, they only elevated his charges because of the protests and the riot. Exactly. They weren't going to elevate his charges like the one, like I forgot the name of that guy, but there was a guy that was in the South as well, where a white female cop went and broke into the man's apartment, shot him and killed him in the wrong apartment and put a bullet in that man's head, and she went to jail for manslaughter. Yeah. Get the fuck out of here. That's murder 1. I don't care what there's no other charge but murder 1. Even it goes so far as to murder 2, because it wasn't really preordained that you went into his house to put a bullet in his head. But the fact is, you put a bullet in his head and she's in jail for manslaughter. Get the fuck out of here.
And she's appealing to their sentencing.
Yeah, and you're really appealing to sentencing? You went into the wrong apartment. You went into another man's house. Who cares if he was smoking weed? Who cares what was going on? Who cares? It's the fact of the matter is you illegally went into somebody else's house and you shot him point blank in the head. Are you serious? That is a problem. That is a problem. It's just the fact that it's the higher standard. When they say holding cops to a higher standard, I don't say to hold cops to a higher standard. I say hold cops to the same standard. If you're going to murder somebody, you get charged with murder, not manslaughter. That's not negligent murder. No, it's not negligent murder. You did it. What do you mean? Like that guy that held his knee on that dude's neck, he murdered him. Point blank. That's murder 2. Point blank. Not manslaughter 1. Not, no. It's murder 2. That's it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, and the fact that he knew him in the past, that can really be counted as murder 1 because he knew him in the past. And he already had prior reports on him for racial issues, and he was still on the force. Changes that the reform that needs to happen with cops is constant reevaluations. If you already have a history of racial disputes, you don't need to be wearing a badge. I'm sorry.
That guy, the reason he makes it look so bad for other police is because he's not only a shitty person, but he's been a shitty person for a long time. Yep. But the police force that he worked for should have got rid of him a long time ago.
Exactly.
Like, he should have been gone a long time ago.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's like, that's why I wanted Al's opinion for it, because I first seen this video on Facebook, and like I shared it to Al saying, like, I didn't initially take it like that. That's why I always liked other people's opinions for it, because I wanted, sometimes there's things that I don't see that maybe somebody else sees, but this is like different for me, differently than what Al's seen it, and that's why I asked Junior this yesterday too. And I asked Al this in the text messages, but it's to me, it's better to ask you in person in a sense, or just get a dialogue going where it's like the message that I got from this, and I think fucking Mom shared this police officer the other day too, was breaking down the numbers and stuff. This is what always confuses me, where it's like you were saying, Al, that people are protesting and they're trying to stop violence in their cities and stuff, but it's like it seems like we don't get into these fucking riots and stuff too, and these lootings and these protests until it becomes like a cop killing a person issue, where it's just like,
because the basis behind that is that if I get into a fight with Junior and we hate each other, let's say he ends up murdering me.
Yeah.
Our beef isn't going to be because my skin is black or his skin is black.
Yeah.
Our beef is going to be something else that led to a death. 90% of the time when a police kills a black man, it's some kind of racially motivated shit behind it.
Yeah.
Because if you could, it's like from the point of view, from just the most basic point of view, how is it?
Let me ask a question. Say you killed Chris. Are you killing Chris because of a beef you have with Chris, or because of the fact that Chris looks like a white guy?
Well, that depends.
Listen,
but if Chris kills you, is it because of a beef Chris has with you, or because you're a black guy?
But that's not. That's never going to be a real issue, because me and Chris don't have the kind of power for the conversation to take that turn. If I was a wealthy man and I had some kind of crazy sway and I saw Chris one day and decided to end his life, the conversation could be made that I thought I was better than he was and he doesn't deserve to breathe.
But that'll never be shown on TV.
Well, that's different.
That'll never be shown on the news. That'll never be shown in any form of media.
Because neither
and
of
it's
us
the same thing if a black cop kills a white man. It's not because he's racist towards that white man.
Here's the difference. In every case in this country right now where a black cop has killed a white man, that black cop is in jail. That's the difference.
Yeah.
That's
that black cop is in jail. When a white cop kills a black man, there is no repercussions. Like there was a recent case of a black cop. He was I forgot what his ethnicity was. I think he was born outside of the country in an African nation or whatever. He was raised in America. He became a policeman. He fired a shot that accidentally killed a white Australian woman. Okay. You know where he's at right now? Sitting in a fucking jail cell for something like, I don't even know how many years. That shit, Google that one.
Look up the statistics on it, Chris.
Australian woman.
Well, it's not even statistics.
No, seriously, look up the statistics on it.
Because it's just the truth.
And how hard it is.
Seriously, look it up.
What do you want to look up?
Look up how often a police officer goes to jail for killing a person. How many times do they actually get sentenced? Like, based on skin color, based on race, based on anything.
You're asking for a really broad,
yeah, I'm saying it's like,
really broad like search.
I mean, that's gonna take some more time than I think we have. But no, before I get into that, this is the only question I was asking. Like you're saying too, it's like I told Junior yesterday. If me and Junior are walking down the street, okay, we go to the corner store, and a fucking cop kills Junior, that sucks, and I'm gonna be fucking pissed off. If we walk to the corner store and just some random person fucking kills Junior, it's like it seems like people. They won't get as outraged if he dies from a random citizen versus a cop, and I understand why. But from my standpoint, I'm looking at like whether Sue kills Junior, a cop kills Junior, you kill Junior. My best friend just fucking died. I don't give a fuck who killed him.
I get that, and that makes that's a perfectly logical, a perfectly sound response. But the thing that causes the problem is, and this is always going to be the case, in any community, a white community, black, Hispanic, if a Hispanic man kills another Hispanic man, it's not going to be because he hates Hispanic people. And that's the driving thing. Now, understand me. Yeah, I'm not saying that every white cop that kills a black person is a racist, right? That's not even the argument I'm trying to make. What I'm trying to say is when a white cop kills a black man, there always seems to be no punishment that comes out of it. And it always seems to be an excessive situation. It's always a situation where this guy is unarmed, but the cop saw a gun. You know, this guy was fleeing for his life, but this cop was scared for his life. It's always a situation where the police has to shoot. Explain to me how in the same fucking place in Minnesota, a couple weeks ago, there was people protesting because they needed to get their hair done or whatever the case is. They're on the fucking on the state building. They're loaded guns. They're screaming in the cop's face. Nothing comes. These people were unruly. They did the same fucking thing. They blocked traffic. They carried guns. They did all the same shit. The difference is the cops didn't do anything to them. The cops didn't come out with any tear gas, no rubber bullets, nothing. Yeah. Couple weeks go by and there's a black protest. The cops instigate the fucking riot. They didn't go out there and start rioting. They were out there peacefully protesting. The cops showed up, started lobbing tear gas canisters, started shooting rubber bullets, started coming out with the riot kit. They instigated that initial riot.
I'm not denying that. The cops have been instigating a lot of shit.
So all the other riots across the nation, I can't say anything about them because them guys are just wilding the fuck out. Yeah. But in Minnesota, the cops instigated that fight, that whole riot shit. Why is it that in the same town, the only difference is the color of the skins of the people? When it's a white mob of people protesting, the cops don't react in that way, even when guys are in their face with armed guns, screaming at them, calling them pieces of shit, telling them, get the fuck away from me before I hurt you, saying this to cops. And the cops don't even blink an eye. But some black people show up, nobody's armed, they just show up with fucking signs and start to protest, and these guys start chucking canisters and fucking shooting rubber bullets.
Propaganda.
You could call it propaganda, but the reality is it happened, and the only difference was the type of people protesting, right? Because the cops showed up ready for something. That's just what it is. That's how people see it. Even if we could actually lay this squarely on the feet of the media and say, this is what the media is showing us. But at the end of the day, these things actually happened.
It's true.
There's no denying that the cops are wrong in this situation. What I'm trying to get across, though, is the media overplays a lot of shit. They don't show shit that happens to any other race in the same light that they do the black race.
But here's the thing.
They don't
It wasn't all based on media, because 90% of the footage that we got from both sides came from people holding phones, making videos and posting online. Like most of the shit that we saw didn't even come from the media. It wasn't like I turned on CNN or Fox and they were like, look at all this shit that's happened. The bulk of the shit that you see comes from random people with their cell phones making videos. That's the problem now. Like we could put it on the feet of the media and say the media is trying to stir a narrative, but at the end of the day, this shit still happened. It actually happened.
This comes from this is actually I would want to ask you a question later on afterwards. This comes from CNN. Again, I don't know. I said, people, this is what I'm Googling and stuff too. I don't have the fucking stats, whether you want to believe the FBI or CNN, whoever. Because people, like said out, they'll say, well, these facts are wrong. I don't know what the fuck. I'm just reading shit, guys. So don't blame me if these numbers are wrong. But From CNN, this woman named Madison Park, and she looks like she's probably Chinese or at least Japanese, but she was saying that few police officers ever face trial for shooting deaths, let alone are convicted. And they're saying that between 2005 and in 2017, 12 years, 80 cops have been arrested on murder or manslaughter charges for on-duty shootings. During the 12-year span, 35% were convicted, while the rest were pending or not convicted, according to work by Philip Stinson, an associate professor of criminal justice. And so they're saying that out of all these situations, 35% are convicted. The rest are just
It's very hard to convict.
Rest are let go. And this is over the course of 12 years, 35% of these cops were convicted. So,
well, actually, I have a thing here that says that
for a second,
starting in 2015, an average of 104 unarmed black men are killed every year.
Okay.
And they said that 13% of these cases result in charges. 13% result in actually charges getting filed. And it also says here that the vast majority of these charges are dropped immediately, right off the bat. There are only 4, just in 2015 alone, from 2015 to 2020. In 2015, only 13 of 104 cases in 2015 where unarmed black people were killed by police actually resulted in charges getting charged with a crime. 13 out of 104.
Yeah.
4 of those cases, out of those 13 that were charged, 4 of them immediately outright ended in a mistrial. 4 of them outright immediately ended. There's 4 cases that's still undergoing a trial from 5 years ago. Still underway to this day. And they're not in jail, by the way. And it says 4 cases have resulted in convictions of officers involved, with the 5th one resulting in the officer pleading guilty. Patterson Brown Jr., William Chapman, Matthew Ajibide, Eric Harris, and Walter Scott. Walter Scott is the 5th case with the officer pleading guilty.
Yeah.
Only 4 of the cases where the officers involved have been convicted and sentenced. None of them were sentenced to more than 4 years in prison. Only 1 of 2 officers convicted for their involvement in Matthew Ajibide's death received jail time. He was sentenced to only a single year in jail to allow to serve this time exclusively on weekends. The officer who killed Patterson Brown was sentenced to only 3 months in jail. The Deputy Bates, who killed Eric Harris, was sentenced to 4 years in prison, and Officer Cobb, who killed William Chapman, was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. And Officer Slager, who killed Walter Scott and pled guilty, has yet to be sentenced. So he might get out on time served. So that's just in 2015. That out of the 104 unarmed black cases, nearly 1 in 3 black people killed by police in 2015 are identified as unarmed. So 1 in 3. So that would mean that 312 black people were killed by police, and only 104 of them were declared unarmed. That's a bullshit statistic. And only 13 of them led to officers being charged, and that was only in 2015. The deaths, I have another page that's up as well, and this is actually a really scary fact. This is a scary fact. Okay, from 2015 to 2020, over a 5-year study, they said deaths for 10 million per 10 million population, according to police deaths, minorities that are killed. Per 10 million population, 30.1 black people died of police.
Yeah.
The next is Hispanic, 10.7.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's white with 7.3. And they said other ethnic groups range between 4.3 and 5.7 per 10 million population. That's death by police.
Yeah.
That is an extremely scary statistic. And then on top of that, a lot of people don't even this is crazy. 463 people have died by the police in 2020 so far.
Yeah.
As of June 7th.
Okay.
That would be 2 days ago. They updated it. 463 people have died.
Yeah.
So with that being said, if you mean it's so basically, and with this, the deaths for blacks are 3-1 for Hispanic, 4-1 for white.
Okay.
And 6-1 for any other group. So if you do the math on 463 of these deaths, it is majority black people that's dying to police officers. Just this year alone, if you do the math, if you really do the math.
When they say 4-1, so it's 463. How many did they say? How many have actually been killed?
For black people in 2020?
Because if they're saying 4-1, then that's like saying, okay, 4-1. That's like saying 100 black guys died and 25 white guys died. If you want to say 4-1.
Yeah, for black people, if you do the math like that, then yes, that would be the case.
So what's the numbers then?
The actual numbers is from 2015. There have been 5,400 people killed and shot by the police officers.
Okay.
5,400 people since 2015, and this information has been updated since 48 hours ago.
Okay. That
5,400 people have died. Now, with that being said, they said, let's see. They don't actually separate the like actual deaths like from black people to white people to Hispanic people. They don't actually separate it 100% on that. They just have a ratio of how black people die how many black people die as opposed to white people as opposed to Hispanic people. Yeah. They have a chart of by race from 2015 to 2019. The deaths by police officers per 10 million population. Yeah. And it's 4-1, and it's 3-1 and 4-1 on whites. And in 2015, and that number has not changed, actually. That percentage has not changed from cops getting charged on crimes. Yeah. And so with that being said, when black people die, that means to tell you that just over 10% of these unarmed killings are leading to charges. And literally a single percent is leading to convictions. 1% conviction rate on convictions of black killings.
Yeah. But this is always the fucking problem with numbers. I mean, so we can spout numbers all fucking day.
Yeah.
But this is from nationalreview.com. Again, we don't have time to read this right now, but this says this is again, it's an article. I can show this to you now later. This was from July 31st of 2019. This says there is no epidemic of racist police shootings. I mean, again, this, I don't, and it's this according to this person. I didn't write it, but it just says a new study debunks a common myth, and they're breaking down numbers. Are saying so. Again, and this is the
who says they have to be shot to be killed? George Floyd was strangled. Yeah. It's like Sandra Brown. Let's not forget about her. She was hogtied in the back of a police vehicle, and she died in police custody.
They did to her what was called a rough ride.
Yeah.
Yep.
They bound her hands behind her back and fucking stuck her in the back of the car. And then she died. She was perfectly healthy when she was taken into fucking custody, and then died in jail under mysterious circumstances. That was doing air quotes for people who can't see me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. So these numbers it's just like, this is always a fucking problem. It's like, they'll put out numbers saying like, 600 white people have been killed and 300 black people have been killed. So technically more whites are dying. But then they'll say, well, the numbers are higher. But then again, too, they also make up 65% of the population. So the numbers probably would be higher.
The numbers to me don't really mean anything. It's just the fact that police are not taking accountability for it. If 1% of convictions happened, which is a real statistic, 1% of convictions happened, that is what needs to change.
But that's basically
the problem. Is part of the problem is that the reason police don't have to take accountability is because there are people that would create fucking things that say that they're not doing anything wrong.
Exactly.
So when you could see with your own eyes that police are doing this, but you have people that would gather in masses and say, nah, it's perfectly fine. Continue killing these people. So then the police are in a position where it's like, well, obviously it's fine for me to do this, so why would I stop?
Yeah.
And
but that's kind of like the question I want to ask you, Al, because I asked this junior yesterday. It's like, I'm not defending, listen, if in 2020, whether the cops killed one black guy or fucking 500 or whatever the case may be, the exact number at this point, it's like 120 or 125 or something. I agree. One is too fucking many.
Yeah.
But the only thing I was asking you, Al, too, is just, and you can explain this better to me, is like, I'm not seeing people excuse this or they're not against it, but it just seems like all these, it's like when people say this whole thing where it's like, almost that video I was showing you when a guy was like saying that like black people feel like black lives don't matter. The only time it matters is when cops are killing us. And I think that stigma only comes from, it's like when we look at the numbers, well, it's like, well, cops killed 100 black people, which is a shitty number. But then when you look at all the overall communities, well, 5,000 black people died this year. And the average person's just like, that's just the way of life. You know,
here's the problem. It's not that it's a way of life, and black people don't accept it. This is what you need to understand. The problem is, what do we do? Because the people we're supposed to call to fix that problem is also killing us. Yeah. The police are supposed to fix that problem. There isn't supposed to be black on black crime. The police are who we call to stop the fucking murderers. That's the problem. But we don't have anybody that we can call. This is why the criminals are running rampant in the black community, and the black people, like me as a black man, what am I supposed to do personally to stop the Bloods and the Crips? Yeah. What am I supposed to do personally to stop the guys who are orchestrating fucking crime in the neighborhood? How am I supposed to stop them? What I could do is call the cops. I could reach out to my senator, my congressman, my mayor, my governor. I could reach out to the people who have the power to do something. But when they are doing nothing, the crime continues. The problem isn't that black people don't care. Of course we care. We live in the communities, and criminals terrify us. The problem is the people that we're supposed to call to deal with the criminals are also criminals. Okay. Right? This is the issue. The whole concept of black on black crime and people look past it, that's just a fallacy. It's not true. Black people don't just turn a blind eye. We don't just accept it. As if you live in the neighborhood where you've seen it all your life, you kind of accept there is nothing I could do about it. Okay. Right? But it's not as simple as, oh, well, crime is happening and we like crime, so let's do crime. No, there are people who do crimes because they are criminal. They have a criminal mentality, and they commit crimes. Yeah. And the people that we are supposed to be able to turn to control the crime are also committing crime. Yeah. And this is where the problem is.
No, I see what you're saying. It's just like, the fact it's like, you know, when they're spouting out these fucking numbers, they're saying like, you know, well, technically speaking, the cops are killing black people lesser than black people killing black people. But you're like, well, thing is, it's not that we don't give a fuck, it's we can't do shit about it, and we're going to you to help us, and you're not helping us,
and you're not doing anything. This is the problem. Like I put it to you like this: if you could flick a switch right now and eradicate crime, wouldn't you?
Of course. Yeah.
Everybody would. There is no person who wouldn't love to live in a great community. Everybody wants that. The problem is, we are heavily policed in the black community, and the police aren't helping in the black community. They're doing whatever the fuck they want, and a lot of times it's wrong. The issue becomes, we need more good police to stand up. We need a better relationship with the police. We need the good cops to come to the forefront. That's what we need.
And they also need to be protected.
And dude, and this is, I'll tell you this, and this is, I'll stake my life on these words. If the good cops come to the forefront to protect us and the neighborhood, I will personally beat a rallying cry. I would go out and fucking try to find people to help me do shit to protect them. Like, I will be fucking banging on the governor's door, on the mayor of the city. I will be talking to every legislator. I will do everything I can to make sure that comprehensive laws are passed so that these guys who decided to stake everything on the line to help the community, the community will help them back. Sure. I promise you. The community will help them back. Like, but the problem is, it's like the crime is running rampant, and the black communities are heavily policed, but crime isn't going down. Why is that? Like, this is a question that I ask, and I want somebody to explain it. If police are supposed to get rid of crime, and they're supposed to control crime, but crime is out of control in these neighborhoods, and we have a heavy police population, but nothing is changing, then what's wrong? Something is clearly wrong.
Yeah, we're lacking things in other communities, like you said before.
Like, yo, we need to, like, this is something, like, I'm telling you, me and Chris had the conversation. As soon as I heard, I read the link where it was like defund and disband the police force in Minnesota. I immediately thought, this is ridiculous. What the fuck is going on? What are they thinking? That was my initial thought. But then, like I said, I had two conversations, two different people, yesterday and today, and I actually read more into defunding. And it was like, the one thing that is crystal clear is that in communities where the people prosper, there is not a heavy police presence. Sure. That's just, and the things that are funded are the schools. The schools are heavily funded where the kids have great teachers. They have all the equipment they need to learn. Yep. They get up every day. Like, these are communities where kids get up in the morning ready to go to school. Yeah. Like, you know, in the black community, you have a ridiculous dropout rate.
Yep.
And that's because our schools don't do anything. Like the school, you have teachers that just show up to collect a paycheck. They don't really care about teaching. The percentage of teachers that care is low, very low. Like, the kids don't give a fuck. The teachers don't give a fuck. You have a bunch of dropouts that are good. Like, and I'm not saying this isn't the case for everybody, because even in those dire situations, you still have young black kids that are eager to learn, that are hungry to be taught, and that want to do something.
That is true.
A lot of times, out of these really bad situations, good kids flourish. The problem is, we shouldn't be in a situation where we are expecting the exceptions to the rules to fucking be the thing that we define everything at. What we need to do is create a situation where every kid wants to be that, wants to fucking learn and flourish. Like in other communities that prosper, fund the schools, defund the police force because they're not helping.
Yeah,
they're not doing anything.
Exactly.
Like, defund them. Like,
compensate the teachers better. Put more after-school programs.
Create after-school programs.
Create more opportunities for people to actually do stuff.
Exactly.
The more active that people are in the community, the less likely crime is there to happen. Like in Clifton Park, for example, they don't even have a local police department. What they have, they commission the state. They commission the state police to actually come in and patrol. Like, they don't even have a local police precinct in Clifton Park. That's how low of crime rate that they have up there, and they're flourishing up there, and $250,000 and above houses. They're look at their lavish lifestyle compared to what's going on 2nd Ave in downtown Albany. That it's 100% different. I 100% agree with you on that. It's like there's next to no opportunities for anybody to do anything. Like when the YMCA was open on Washington Ave, there was hardly any fights going on in there. People would get off of school and they would go straight to the YMCA. Now that place closed down and it's a mosque. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, you close that place down and it's officially a mosque. Now it's one less place for people to go to. There was a community center that was on Lark Street. It's still there, but they don't use it as a community center anymore. And they pretty much, like, the charter school commissioned the property and now it's no longer a community center. So that's another place that kids went to like play basketball and do things and things like that. And they take those things away. So when you continue to take away from a community that already doesn't have that much, what else is left for them to do? Yeah. And you said that that's pretty much your words, but I stated it differently. Yeah. And it's crazy. That's why I agree with you 100%, and I stand with you on that, because it's just ridiculous. It is ridiculous. There's literally nothing. You walk down the streets of Albany right now. Walk down the streets of Albany, New York right now. What is there to do in the lower income community? Where is there for people to go? What is there to do? That's why when people said, nobody's funding money into the community, I mean, it's true. Look at how the community looks.
Well, I think two things on that, because I'm going to mention the res in a second, but I've talked to Junior about that a lot in the past. How many quote unquote celebrities, and whether it's a rapper, basketball player, football player, baseball player, whatever, actor and shit too, their whole fucking cliche, their whole stigma is, I'm from the hood, I'm from the hood, I'm from the hood. Okay. The second you get $10 million, you're out of that fucking hood in a heartbeat. And
that's not a bad thing. I mean, just getting out of the hood is what you try to do.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
But I say right now, but for me, if I just won $10 million, I would, at least for me, I have two options. I could fix this fucking house up, maybe take my neighbor's houses, fix their fuck house up and shit too, or I could say, fuck you guys, I'm going to Clifton Park and never see you again. And the thing is, if every time somebody gets a shred of money, they keep leaving, all people that are fucking stuck here, how are these neighborhoods ever going to get built up more if everybody keeps fucking leaving instead of helping their fucking local communities? Some of these guys are worth $100 million fucking dollars, right? You can't donate $100 million to your local library, your kids fucking, like, June, right here on that boxing center right there too. Somebody couldn't fucking donate $50,000 to a community boxing center or like a laundromat or something.
Well, technically that is a community boxing center, and there's one by Lincoln Park as well that they can go to.
But there is a lot of neighborhoods, even in our own fucking city, that people. It's like at this point you can't rely on the government because they're fucking morons to help your community. You got to do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you make a good point, and I agree with you 100%. The community should first and foremost attempt to correct itself, but in terms of when it comes to crime, like people getting together, like, and don't get it fucked up. There are people, like, I remember, I don't know her name because it's just one of them things I was casually looking at, but a couple years back, they were groups of people who were actually getting together and trying to do stuff to correct the community. There was a guy who was offering money for people to bring in guns. There were these two ladies, a black lady and a white lady, that were fucking giving food away and creating stuff for children to come in and play. Like, there are people out there who are actively trying to better the community. But the problem is, crime still exists. Like, in order for the community to get better, for children to feel safe to play in the streets, for parents to feel like I want to commit myself completely to making sure this community is better, in order for that to happen, we need people to stamp out crime. Like, we need crime to be a thing that is controlled. We need the people who are in position to stop the crime to stop the crime. Like, right now, our local police fucking places, I don't know. I don't know how much money they get or how they're funded or how it even works. I don't know if they're getting money from the federal or the state. I have no idea. I don't know how it works for us in this local community here. Yeah. What I do know is that the community is in bad shape where it needs to be fixed. There are people being killed regularly on, like you said, every other day you'll hear gunshots, somebody will die, and it seems as if people don't care, but it's not that people don't care. It's that, what can I do? Yeah, this is the issue that drives everybody.
What's like this house? I mean, what can anybody in this house do?
Yeah, that's just what it is. That's why I was offended at that dude's whole spiel where he was like, "Well, Black Lives Matter doesn't matter because it doesn't matter when one guy is doing it." Like, he's comparing two things. Like, and it's what he's saying is dangerous because it is setting the precedent that, as long as there are criminals, then it's fine for the police to kill us, right? Which is stupid because you'll never hear anybody else say that. You'll never hear any other ethnicity on the planet. You will never hear a white person say, "Well, the KKK exists, so it's fine. I'm not saying anything." Any resistance?
It's okay to keep gunning them down.
Yeah, like, it's dumb. Like, should white people be killed by the police because the KKK exists? Should Mexicans be killed by the police because the Latin Kings exist? Like, it's a dumb thing. Like, you can't. The two things aren't comparable. They don't go together. They're not. You can't compare them.
Well, I've said this for a long time, though, in terms of politicians and stuff too. Politicians in these neighborhoods, they don't give a fuck about you because they don't live in these neighborhoods.
And the thing is, simply put, we need, like, people to rally together. Where there have been people doing certain things, but people need to, like, rally together.
Well, it's like this is a loaded. I didn't say loaded, but this is a complicated issue, which is like, not defending the guy's video. This is what I took out of it, which you didn't take out of it, which is, I'm glad you broke this down to me. I just felt like the point that he was coming from was just like, when in terms of these protests and these fucking riots and this outrage, it's like people, when they see 1,000 people in the neighborhood get gunned down by their local community, they don't get outraged. And so it's like they only get outraged when it happens from, like, say, a police issue.
Because the outrage comes from watching a person in authority put his knee on somebody's neck while he's begging for his life until he dies. Yeah. That's where the outrage comes from. The outrage isn't just as simple as, well, this guy's white and this guy's black. The outrage is, this guy is a cop. He's a civil servant meant to protect.
Yes.
He is committing murder without regard, and it's very likely he won't be punished for it. Yeah. That's where the outrage comes from. The outrage isn't as simple as it's a black versus white thing. The outrage comes from, this guy who's meant to protect me. This guy has authority. He's given a weapon. He can take life. And his job is civil servant. He is meant as protector. He is the guy that we're supposed to call when shit is going south. Yeah. The problem is, he shows up and he's now the problem.
It's like,
right? That's the outrage.
I would say now superheroes are big thing, guys. It's like, hey guys, I'm calling Superman. Superman punches me in the fucking face. It's like, so this is what I want to ask you too. Like off last time, and Junior as well, and even Susan, if she wants to chime in. It's like, I see this all
really quiet in the corner over there.
It's
this was supposed to be a funny podcast.
We tried.
Funny wasn't doing well.
No.
Well, it was just me being angry.
I'm cracking open the strawberry.
No, but no, Sue has seen this and Junior's seen this, and our bosses. I've talked a little bit about this, but like, when you're mentioning the last time too, and this has become
you just hear the pouring.
I'm listening to it like son of a bitch.
It's like you just hear like the glistening of the wine just enter into the metal jug.
But no, like you even said this before, and Sue said this, and Al said this, and even Junior. I 100% agree that the media and the news outlets too, and the government, I feel they really do try to racially divide us, and they don't want it, because this to me is almost like prison, which is like it's a weak comparison in some ways, but like when you go to prison, guys, at least in New York State, universally, everybody, when you get processed, you have green. You have a green fucking pants, green coat, green shirt, you are green. The COs, the correctional officers, they wear blue. When you're in fucking jail, there's two colors that matter. There's green and there's blue. There's no like, oh, the white inmates, the black inmates, the Hispanic inmates. When the COs and a lot of white guys, you can see this shit too. I've seen a couple times, which is funny as hell. Hey, CO, what's going on? Hey, what's going on, buddy? Them COs, they don't see you as a fucking white dude. They see you as a piece of shit criminal wearing fucking green. These COs will fuck you up no matter what the color your fucking skin is, pal. It's the point is, every once in a while, too, you would get in fucking prison, these racial fucking divides. The COs are laughing their asses off because they're like, dude, white guys, just because it's like the whites versus the fucking blacks versus Hispanics, you think if the whites win the prison race war, we're going to help you? We're going to fucking throw you in a box, and the black guys in a fucking box, and the Hispanic guys in a fucking box. There's no favoritism, dickhead. It's you're a piece of shit criminal. We're a CO, we're better than you. I feel like this is the same way with the government. The government's like, we don't give a fuck. You go ahead and have a fucking race war. We're still rich politicians. We're still living our fucking great neighborhoods. We're still living our nice lives. We don't give a fuck about you morons because it's us versus fucking them in a sense. It's like, the blue collar fucking people, the common fucking man versus the guys living in mansions and shit. These politicians don't give a fuck about you guys. What they care about is your votes and your fucking money and your tax dollars, which is paying for their Mercedes and their Lamborghinis and their nice ass houses because
all $3 trillion a year they take from us.
Yeah, but no, I wanted to ask you this out too. This is why I do I said I hate being a conspiracy theorist by any means, but I do believe there's something out there where it's like when we're talking about the whole like the Black Lives Matter thing, like Junior and Al said too. We're not saying that like when we say Black Lives Matter, other lives don't matter. Unfortunately, we're in the age of fucking social media and everybody's a fucking extremist. But I do admit, I seen this video last week and I showed it to Junior, to Jen and Susan, where it's like, this guy, Tony Tippa. I never heard Tony Tippa's name, never fucking knew about the guy. This came out in 2019. Apparently in 2016, he was fucking killed. It took 3 fucking years for his family and the social media and everybody to get the cam footage. And Tony Tippa was a 32-year-old kid, and he was a fucking man who called the cops. He was a white dude. 5 fucking cops showed up too. They berated him, kicked him. They fucking had him in handcuffs. He was off his medication, called the cops saying, help me, I'm off medication, I need some help. They show up and for 13 minutes, had him on the fucking ground, kicked him, beat him, put their knees into his neck. Paramedics show up, he's dead. And you hear the cop like, oh shit, he's dead. And the paramedic's like, he's not breathing, guys, he's fucking dead. You fucking killed him. There's a 6-minute YouTube video and it says, graphic stuff is going to be here. Look at this too. But 5 cops killed fucking Tony Tippa. But this happened last year in 2019. And for some people, not me, but some people are like, there are videos where cops are killing people that aren't fucking black. But it's like, why is the news though? Again, the CNNs, the Fox News and shit too. No one's making national headlines about some random fucking white dude. He was brutally murdered by the cops. No one said shit about this, And I'm not saying that his life is any more important or any less important than, say, George Floyd's, but I do admit, like Al would say too, where's all the people with their cell phones? Where is all the cams? And
that's the key right there. Like the fact that nobody stood up for him is why nobody knows about him.
Yeah.
Is because all it would take, if the reason that CNN will pick up something and spin it is because it's trending on social media and they see it. If somebody would have stood up for this guy and said, yo, this guy was fucking murdered and it was wrong, there would have been noise made about this. That would have been definitely, somebody would have said something. Because you understand that a lot of times when people fight against police brutality, they're not just fighting against police brutality just because it's police brutality against black people.
Yeah.
There are black cops that brutalize black people as well. Yeah. And those guys still get called out. If somebody had said something for him or stood up for him or made some noise in his name,
nobody did.
And nobody did. But that's why he faded into obscurity.
That's why I do think though that the fucking media, and it said the media could have made him a martyr, but they didn't. But they made George Floyd a martyr. Now it's like not saying George Floyd's life was any more important than Tony Tippa's, but it's just like
the media really didn't make him a martyr, and they couldn't do anything to stop him. That movement had already started gaining traction the minute social media picked it up. Once you could go on Facebook, Twitter, or fucking Instagram and see this video, the thing that horrified people is that we were watching this video with no edit, no filter. Like this, you could literally watch this man die for the whole 9 minutes. Yeah. And this wasn't on CNN. I didn't see this on CNN. I didn't hear about it on the news. Most people didn't. This was on social media. And the steamrolling started on social media, and then CNN picked it up. So media does play their part in sensationalizing bullshit. They do. I'm not even going to deny that because everybody knows that they do. But the problem is, in this age of everybody has a camera in their hand, this is where things get dramatic. And like I said, that the outrage that drove this protest is the fact that you literally watched this man beg for his life and watched a cop disregard that begging, and it led to his death. That's where the outrage comes from. It's not in this particular instance, it's not as simple as white cop, black guy. It's not as simple as that.
Well, that's a common thing that we're having the past few weeks with social media, though, too, is like, it's whether it's a YouTube video watch, Instagram video watch, or just a Facebook article. And it's initially it was, cop kills fucking innocent man. But then when the course of a snap of a fucking finger, now it becomes like a racial issue. Because it's like, it should have been overall an issue of like, I said this on fucking Jen's Facebook. I'm like, why is it, no, not everyone thinks like us, but I was like, why is it whenever you hear, hey guys, I said, pick an arbitrary number, 15 people. 15 fucking innocent men were killed by cops, okay? 15 innocent people. You never hear about, oh my God, 15 innocent men were killed by cops. It's like, what was the race of the cops? For like a lot of people and stuff too, it's like, what does it matter? Well, no, we don't know the race. Okay, well, it was 10 fucking black guys and 5 white guys. Holy shit, 10 black guys get killed by cops. It's like, okay, 5 white guys died too. Yeah, but that's not really important. But 10 black guys were killed by cops. And it's
the reason, I'll tell you why that doesn't get sensationalized. Because you can't make the argument, like, this is it. If a white cop kills a white man, it's not racially motivated. Yeah. That's the thing. And like I said, I'm not saying that to say that all cops kill because of racial motivation. Yeah. What I'm saying is there is no way to connect the dot of a white cop killing a white man being racial. You can't connect that dot. If a white cop kills a black man, even if it has nothing to do with race, you could still spin that. You can still make it a racial thing. And that's where
that's social media.
That's where that media spinning shit comes in, right? Even if this cop literally had no issue with his race and he killed him for other reasons or whatever, they could still spin it. Now, for the black community, because of the history that we've had in America, like let's just be outright with it. Because of the history of slavery in this country and the whole history of Jim Crow and black people being, on the bottom rung of American society. Because we've always had the boot of the police on our neck for our entire existence in this country. Whenever a police kills a black guy, people immediately feel like it's racially motivated, right? And there is no way to prove that it's not, because like any white cop that kills a black guy is in a space where even if he didn't, like, there was no racial motivation. Let's say this guy pulls up on the scene and he legitimately was in a situation where he had to draw his gun. He killed this guy, and, just for the sake of argument, just playing devil's advocate, let's say that the cop really thought he was in danger. He really thought this guy had a gun, and the guy didn't have a gun. Yeah. Turns out he's unarmed, right? In his mind, he never once considered the guy's race. The problem now becomes, well, this guy is unarmed. What made you so scared that you had to draw your gun and end the life of this black man when he was not a threat, right? Because black people always feel, and with justification, that the police are out to get us. Because the police have been shitty to black people the entire time, right? And like I said, I shouldn't say police, I shouldn't generalize, I shouldn't make a blanket statement, because obviously all cops aren't fucking assholes, they aren't bad. Yeah. But it's like you said, the minority is always the vocal ones. So the small percentage of cops that are shitty are always the ones that bring attention to the police force, right? Like, literally, if you have a police force, you have 30 cops on the force, and one cop is a racist, dickhead piece of shit, he's the guy that's eventually going to do something that's going to make the rest of these guys look like shit. He's going to do or say something out in public where he's going to draw that negative energy on the rest of the force. Yeah. That's always going to happen. And the problem is, when the rest of these guys hear him make a stupid fucking racist joke in the precinct, they're supposed to curb that behavior or not be comfortable or report it or get this guy out so he doesn't become a problem later on. But they don't do that because of the quote unquote blue code, right? So now they have to, even if they don't like it, they got to go along with whatever bullshit they hear, whatever nonsense he says, whatever behaviors that he has. Yeah. And then eventually when something happens and he's in trouble, they're either forced to do one of two things. They either have to separate themselves from him and stand apart, or they have to stand in solidarity and support.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a shitty position to be in, because if you don't believe what he believes, you either have to put your career on the line and fight against him, or you got to get in line and look like a shitty cop just like him.
You know, even from like almost, we didn't do too much episode 1, but I've had a problem with this for a very long time, is like lynch mobs. And we've become not so much physical all the time, except for rioting, but on social media lynch mobs. Like you said, feminism needed to happen. It was supposed to happen. It was unfair that like I work a job making $15 an hour. Susan does the exact same thing and she's making $10 an hour. That's inequality. The problem is though is because like anything, people can't have the balance of equality. Now it has become it's every woman is like treating men like total shit. There was a fucking time where it's like a man would rape a woman and get away with it. A man would torture a woman and get away with it. But now, though, it's the opposite. Instead of being equality, it's like, I point at you and you're automatically guilty. That's not right. See? I think for a lot of people on Black Lives Matter, like you said with the cops, people like you and Junior, actually all 4 of us too, we're level heads enough to say, hey guys, not all cops are bad people, but hop on social media. If you're fucking black, if you don't universally hate every fucking cop on the planet, you're whatever. Like you said, Al, the second, even someone like you, if you would hop on Twitter and say, hey, listen, I'm Al, I'm black, I don't think we need to fucking defund cops. Oh, you're a fucking Uncle Todd, you're a fucking coon because you have to hate all cops, and it's because we are so quick to do a lynch mob mentality universally, and it's the fucking problem. It's either love cops or hate fucking cops. Love Trump or fuck hate Trump. Be racist, don't be racist. There's very few people have these civil fucking discussions because we're in this massive lynch mob mentality and shit. So I think that's a problem with a lot of people with Black Lives Matter. When someone says, hey, we understand Black Lives Matter, we also understand too, if somebody like said, maybe I had a brother who was white who got killed by a cop, and I'm like, you know, when you say Black Lives Matter, the wording of that, a person who may have had a son or daughter killed by a cop is like, well, doesn't my sons matter too? Well, it does, but we're not saying it's so much gray area with this shit too. It's like when some people say all lives matter.
I'll say this. There is no gray area here.
I was just about to say that.
This is the reality of this situation. If I'm black and you're white, I have a black son, you have a white son.
Yeah.
I lose my kid because of police brutality or police fucking injustice or whatever, and you lose your kid in a similar situation where he shouldn't have died. The issue is your race has not been systematically oppressed for centuries. It's shitty that your kid died. He didn't deserve it. But you haven't suffered in the way we've suffered. So it's not that your kid's life doesn't matter, because his life mattered more than my kid's life mattered from the day he was born. His life has historically always mattered in the whole existence of this country. White life has always mattered. There's never been a point in this country where white life didn't matter.
Yeah.
Black life has always been treated like it didn't matter. Blacks were at one point in time considered animals. There were laws written that made them animals.
It's true.
And after they were animals, they were 3/5 of a man. They weren't even considered a whole man. This was written in the fucking law, in the Constitution. Like, this was one of the amendments that was amended, right? So we went from being, we had to fight for humanity, and then when they decided to give us humanity, they made us partially human. And then we had to fight for equality and civil rights, and then we had to fight just to be equal, right? So when black people say, and I know people know this, so like when people try to argue it, I laugh, because you know this. Nobody ever said white lives doesn't matter. When we say Black Lives Matter, we're saying Black Lives Matter as well. Like, you know, it's not, nobody's trying to say my life matters more than yours. I'm trying to say your life matters and my life matters as well. And the people that resist that or protest that, they know what they're protesting. They simply don't want Black lives to matter. That's what it is. They're comfortable in a situation where white lives matter and Black lives don't, and they want that system to continue. They want that system of we matter and you don't to continue. There's nobody that, like, me saying my life matters. It's like if I said to you, Chris, my life matters. Like, we live in a situation where your life is treated like gold. Yeah. You make money. All the women flock to you. Nothing bad happens to you. And I say, well, why? What the fuck is all this happening? My life matters too. And you go to me, well, both of our lives matter. Well, fuck, your life already matters. You've got everything. Yeah. Like, so why are you trying to equate us as if it's equal? It's not equal. Your life is fucking great. You already matter. And I just want to matter as well.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. This is what I think, but this is the unfortunately, the world we live in too with the extremists. This is also why too is that I've talked to people too, like with the whole fucking TikTok issue, where I'm like, TikTok is a platform I overall don't like or social media, because we make these assholes where it's like, hey, I got famous because I licked a toilet seat, and one dude's like, well, you shouldn't fucking shit on an entire platform. I was like, what's the fucking point, dude? Where it's just like there's these fucking extremists where we can't have freaking balances and stuff too, and people, it's like you have to pick these fucking sides. It's either you're all for it or against it and stuff too. But the equality and the fucking balancing system, it's just like, I told this fucking dude, I'm like, your platform that you support, why these people are becoming assholes and doing racist, horrible fucking shit, is why I have friends who don't have a TikTok, who don't have a Twitter, who don't have a Facebook, because we've seen this. Well, Twitter, guys, in terms of the fucking entire country, there's hundreds of millions of people who don't have social media platforms because of this shit, because they want to live their life, have a good fucking life, and they're tired of like you telling me I have to choose a fucking side, or I have to feel a certain type of way, or I have to have or my opinion doesn't fucking matter. If I state my opinion, I lose my fucking job. And this is what I was telling this fucking dude.
Which is a constitutional violation.
But I was saying too, social media now too has become this fucking massive lynch mob where it's like no one can have a fucking conversation. It's either love me or hate me. It's like, why? Okay, how about I love you, but I dislike you sometimes. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be fucking friends? Like I said, the fucking thing with Trump is either with Trump, there's some people out there, no matter what he says, universally, I love everything that comes out of this fucking man's mouth. And I'm like, you're a fucking moron. I mean, there is no presidential candidate in the history of this country where you love every single thing this person has fucking done. On the opposite spectrum, I hate everything this fucking man's done. That's impossible. There's unless Trump is Hitler himself, which he isn't, but he's an asshole. Look, Trump's an asshole. I admit that. He's not Adolf Hitler and shit too. You can't tell me there isn't one good thing this fucking man has done since his presidency. But this is our fucking culture. It's lynch mob. It's either love me or hate me. There's no middle ground. I've got family who I like, they annoy me, but I like them. I have family who I love. I don't talk to them that often, but it's just like, it's either I love you or I hate you, and that's it. It's like, it's like there's nobody that can, why can't we agree to disagree? Why can't we have civil conversations? And it's not now. It becomes, I'm an ist, or I'm a fucking phobe, or I'm obic. Fuck, man. It's like.
But it's like what Al said, that, again, I pretty much stood by just about everything that Al has said. And it's just the fact that you have the few people who have the loudest voice.
Yeah.
And those few people are on social media, are on these platforms that are posting these things that are saying you either have to be one way or the other.
Yeah.
And if you can either be a part of that few that eats into that, or you can just be that person that says, you know what, that's you. And you can continue to keep living your life. You can be on social media and you can see how people are, and you can do things like that. There's plenty of people that's on my social media. I got over 500 friends on this social media, on Facebook. And half my friends on Facebook have posted things about Black Lives Matter. And they have posted things about the fact that, they have also said that it's not just about the Black lives. There's white people that posted Black Lives Matter, because they understand that they understand that the premise of Black Lives Matter is we want to matter. Our lives need to matter. Our lives
need to matter just as much as every other life.
Exactly. Our life matters just as much as every other life. And that's the understanding that they have when they post it. But the people that refute Black Lives Matter, it's like, if all lives matter, why do you refute Black Lives Matter?
Exactly. That's the question I always
That's the thing. If you're
preaching all lives matter, then why is it a problem if I say Black Lives Matter?
Exactly.
You're claiming all lives matter.
Exactly.
So isn't Black life a part of all lives? That's crazy.
Exactly. So the middle ground exists for the people who are. It exists for the people who are logical. The people who are logical, that think outside the box, that understands what the purpose of all of these demonstrations and everything that's happened, that is what that's for.
Like I told you last night, your Xbox Live, this is like you're saying, like Al broke down last time about white privilege. Listen, it's not that saying that we know it exists, and there's been situations where two people have the exact same charge, but based on their skin tone, it's different charges. There's been situations. But also, too, on the opposite spectrum, Junior has family. I mean, I have fucking friends and family. There's been black people on social media said, listen, I've lived my entire life where it's like, I've never been pulled over by the police. I've never fucking been beaten by the cops. I've never been arrested. I live a good fucking life. I'm college, I'm educated. There are black people who said, listen, we understand oppression does exist, but if you come out and say, I live a great fucking life, I've never been oppressed, then you got the fucking white hippie guy saying, well, people like you are a fucking disgrace. And like, there are people out there who've never actually had a run-in with the fucking police.
You know why people take offense to those people that say that? Because I could tell you, I personally have only had very minor bad run-ins with the police. Yeah. Like most of my run-ins with the police, which in general aren't that many. But anyway, I digress. The reason that people get offended at that is that the implication is that just because that person didn't have any bad run-ins with the cops, somehow he's either trying to say he's better or he's trying to say that it's the fault of the person having the run-ins with the cops. It's like that's like blaming me. That's like imagine going out with your friend. Let's say you and Sue went out one night, right? Sue got drunk, started being belligerent. Some girl got in her face, she beat the shit out the girl. Police gets called, she's mouthing off, running her mouth, going crazy. Cops put you in handcuff, punch you in the face, right? Yeah. Beat the shit out of you. You didn't do anything. Cops just decided, you're the guy.
Why do I have to be the belligerent one?
This is just for the sake of the story.
This has happened, though, man.
The cops decided.
I'm really feeling offended over here, Al.
I apologize, Susan.
Like, I'm not a feminazi, but I'm about to become a feminazi just because of that shit.
Well, you are violent.
Fuck off, Junior, or else I'll kick your fucking ass.
See? She's violent.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah, by the way, can you help me bring my refrigerator upstairs?
That's a good friend.
Who's a good friend?
You are?
Imagine in that scenario, you get blamed for the cop attacking you. When you literally was... The cop decided, well, he's the guy. I can't fuck this girl up. She's a girl. Yeah. You're the guy. You're going to get this fucking ass whooping. I'm not going to arrest you, and I'm going to let you know.
But there are some cops, though, that won't give a shit if it's a chick or not.
That's true. That's a whole different discussion. You're right, though.
No, but like I was saying, too, that's a problem. It's like, no, it's that there is... That's it. Junior's fucking... I've known Junior's Uncle Willie since we were 8 years old and stuff, too. Willie lives out in Waterford. He moved the fuck out of Albany. You can't blame him. Willie has 2 fucking degrees. 2 fucking degrees. Willie's never fucking been arrested. We've had billions of conversations like, dude, I've never been racially profiled. And then he's not saying he's better than nobody. He's like, but this...
He might not be saying that, but that's the way it's interpreted. It's like you're blaming the other people for... It's like blaming me for having run-ins with the cops when I didn't do anything to get this attention. No. It's like if I'm on my way to work and a cop notices me and decides to pull me over and I have a bad interaction with that cop, that's like telling me that bad interaction was my fault when I literally did nothing to draw this attention.
Like I was telling you, because I was raised... Jen would listen to this too. Jen, you spend some time in the res. I spend more time in the res than Jimmy and Jen spend a lot of time with my fucking father. But because... the way the reservation was before the tribal police came in too, Dad raised me a certain type of way where it's like when I see a cop, even before I started getting into legal stuff too, every time I seen a fucking cop I get pulled over. Now a lot of people would say, well, white people never see a fucking cop get pulled over and get fucking nervous. Because of the way I was fucking raised, when a cop pulled me over, I'm like, oh fuck, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna get my ass kicked for it? Because myself personally, I grew up on the reservation, talked to a lot of Native people. There's as much as this happens to fuck black people, how many fucking native men, Native fucking women will get pulled over, getting dragged out of their cars, getting the shit kicked out of them. Unfortunately, in the 80s and 90s, we didn't have social media or phones like we do nowadays. Native fucking girls would get fucking raped by cops, beaten by cops, but no one ever said nothing about it.
No, now listen to this. Imagine that there's one Native guy that goes, I've never been arrested by the cops. What are you guys talking about? That's never happened. Like, how would you feel after knowing that the shit that happens on the res, seeing the cops doing this crazy shit, than to have one guy sitting on his lofty high horse trying to make it seem like I've never experienced that.
That's a problem. That's a problem with civil discussions. It's like some people would say, listen, this guy could say, like, the rest of the fucking Indians, like, I'm not saying cops don't target you guys. He would say that myself personally, I don't get targeted. But my point I was trying to fucking make is, trust me, from my point of view, as somebody who's been in fucking prison, even to this day, when a cop pulls me over, I'm fucking nervous when a cop pulls me over, because it's like, this cop, my skin tone doesn't make me fucking immune to seatbelt tickets or getting the shit kicked out of me or getting fucking shot at. So I understand.
Or dropping me off late at night when we're coming home from work and the cops pull you over and are like, we've seen you stop here at least a good 20 times. I'm dropping my cousin off from work.
So, no, I totally understand what it's like to fucking constantly be in fear of the fucking police because, at least in my lifetime, I never one time called the fucking cops like, hey, good, awesome, the cops are here. No, when the cops show up, I'm the first one to say, oh, fuck, something bad's about to happen because it's like, I've just... Really, Junior said this is fucking well. I've never been that whole fucking privilege thing too. I've never once time at least had it happen to me because I've had so many times where the cops have like fucked up my life. Where it's like, I mean, shit.
You say that, but I'll tell you this: and I guarantee you that the privilege affects you. Not that you control it, but it does affect you. Some people control the privilege. Some people have access to the privilege and they do what they want with it. The average white person doesn't have access to it in terms of them controlling it, but it does affect you because I promise you this. Looking the way you look, you could go anywhere you want without having to really worry about the cops fucking with you. Yeah. Like if you went somewhere, you wouldn't have to worry about if the cops show up, am I going to be the suspect? As opposed to if I went somewhere and the cops showed up, I definitely would have to worry. Not because I did anything wrong or I'm a criminal, just because I know cops have fucking built-in biases against people that look like me.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the difference. That's a terrifying position to be in.
I still feel like every time I'm at a red light or I'm driving to fuck work and I hear the fucking police sirens, I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. It's just like that. I still get nervous where I'm like, I'm about to get a fucking ticket or my ass kicked or I might get put in handcuffs or something I didn't do. It's like that has happened as well. You know, it's... But no, I before we wrap this up too, I still think overall that before it becomes a racial issue, it still should be because, like you said too, there's guys out there like that fucking George Tippa guy that he was just fading into obscurity, and there's cops out there who are brutalizing people. It's like they're not brutalizing only fucking black people. A lot of Latino people and Asian people and white people are being brutalized as much as them.
Definitely.
It's just not being talked about though. So I understand too the extremists where it's like there's a lot of people out there who do feel like, when you guys do riots and fucking protests, and even white people are like, hey, we Black Lives fucking matter. A lot of people feel like, I don't feel this way, but a lot of people fucking feel like when you say Black Lives Matter, you're only focusing on one aspect and everybody else is getting fucking negated. You know what I mean?
I get that because I've seen that. I've seen people make that argument online, but that's not the point. It's not what Black Lives Matter is about, but I do understand that people feel that way. That's what I'm
saying. That's how some, again, not me, not Susan, too. A lot of people are taking it that way because this is social media.
I've seen people try to argue that point, but like I said, I feel as if when people try to argue that point, they do it out of trying to take away from what the Black Lives Movement is about.
Exactly.
It's like I said. It's like just a quick statement before we head out here. I just feel like if I get fucking killed by the fucking cops. First get killed by the cops, Junior gets killed by the cops. Fuck, I'm gonna call CNN, fucking Fox News. I'm gonna get on news channels, fucking News 9, this and that too. I'm gonna start a fucking big outrage, but like,
it's different. It's different for you than it would be for another white person. Because if you get killed by the cop, me and Junior are gonna raise holy hell.
I know.
Sue's gonna come along with us.
Like you're saying now, this is a fucking problem. How come all these fucking this is the issue too? Anybody listening? When all these fucking white guys
but they're not gonna listen to us because they're just gonna look and be like, oh. Yeah. Chris, stupid little white boy. Oh, he was Indian? Fucking even worse.
That's a fucking problem. Whenever these white guys are getting fucked up and shit too by the cops, why isn't anybody making a stink out of it?
That just comes to show you that who's around you and who's in your circle. Because I can tell you right now, if it came down what you seen the black people, you seen what happened with George Floyd. There was video surfaced on social media, people outraged. If somebody is around you and something is happening to you and you get killed and nothing gets surfaced, that speaks volumes about the people that's around you because of the fact that if they're not going after the police officers, if they're not surfacing video on the internet for you, then that's the people that's around you that don't give a fuck about you. It's not about the community or about the people in whole at this country. It's the fact that the people that's around you, the immediate people that's around you that see this happen and didn't do anything about it, don't give a fuck. And the people and the things that happened to George Floyd, they gave a fuck because of the fact that they seen the brutality. They witnessed a murder that got surfaced on social media. With you, even if it was the same exact scenario, you got two exact scenarios right in front of you with George Floyd and you, right? Now, let's say it happened to you in the same exact way that George Floyd happened to you, but his surfaced on social media, yours didn't. Who's going to get more attention?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what it comes down to. Like,
that's one I'm curious looking forward if this happens, and who knows when's going to happen again, because it's going to happen again, guys. Simple as that. We know it's going to happen again. So
it's going to.
But next time it fucking happens, if it happens to anybody who isn't African, fucking American, and black too, will people be just as outraged if it happens to a Hispanic guy or an Asian guy or a fucking white guy?
If it surfaces on social media, you're absolutely right.
Like I said, but George Pipp, I looked at his fucking article. There was fucking like 10 different Fox fucking News, CNN, New York fucking Post. There's YouTube videos of him being killed right fucking in front of the cops on YouTube. Why am I hearing about his name a year later, but he was killed back in 2016? A white dude killed by 6 fucking cops.
Because he just didn't get the traction that, like, I'm telling you, the reason that George Floyd got to this point is because of all the traction that video got. That video was particularly gruesome because we got to watch this cop basically murder him. And we didn't get to see, like, I have not seen the video of
I'll link it to
this type of guy, but Is it as brutal as the George Floyd where the cops are actually killing him and he's begging for his life and there's a whole thing?
They're laughing at him.
I'll show it to you, honestly. No, I mean, give me your honest fucking... It's a 6-minute video, but...
Like, I feel like if you show it to me, I'm going to fucking start revolting for this guy.
No.
But this is the thing. This is part of the problem, is that there is such a divide between black people and white people, right? Like, and it's not as simple as blacks and whites. It's like a certain class of white people that feel like we should never have to interact with the lower echelon, right? And we're at the point of when cops brutalize white people, there should be white people should be outraged that the cops are doing this shit, but they don't. Like, the white people just don't. They don't wild the fuck out like they should, and they do that.
They don't care.
It's not that. Well, some of them don't.
No, they don't care. White people suck. Be honest.
But they should wild out. And it's simply, a lot of them don't wild out simply so they could say, oh, we don't act like the black people do. You know, and they let...
Oh, he's a criminal. Just let him get... Oh, if he's a criminal, cops are doing that, it must be for a reason.
They let the atrocity play out right before their eyes. And there's something that happens in the white community that doesn't happen in any other ethnic community in the country. White people have like a built-in, just a super faith in the cops. It's like as soon as somebody puts on a uniform, white people feel like this guy's a good guy. Like, that's something that I've witnessed with my own eyes. Like,
not all white people feel that way. That's racist.
I'm not saying all. I'm just saying in general. The majority of white people see police and think these guys are good guys. And the truth is, a lot of them aren't. A lot of them are, but a lot of them aren't.
No, because there's plenty of fucking neighborhoods in Albany that I've worked in and stuff too. If you go to these neighborhoods, ask any of the fucking local residents, they love the cops. They do.
Oh, yeah.
And because like Al said, they're not afraid of them. You know, they don't live in fucking fear.
That's classism. That's not.
Yeah, yes and no.
It's a combination of both. It's a combination of both.
Because if you're a white person and you grow up in this area, you know that the cops are assholes.
Not everybody.
That's why it's classism.
Not everybody's like us though, but if you look at the majority of fucking white people in this fucking country compared to people like you and me, most people who are fuck of Caucasian nature, they live fucking nice neighborhoods, nice towns, don't deal with the bullshit.
Yeah, they have sticks stuck up their ass.
But see, people like us, we're the unfortunate assholes who fucking stayed in the fucking ghetto, who tried better in our neighborhoods, and look where it got us. It's like, so, but yeah, we killed 257. It's like, so yeah.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah,
I was done about an hour and 50 minutes ago.
Jen was done when this thing started. I mean, I keep calling you Jen.
I mean, because we had a good fucking half-hour comedy, but like, I don't know. It's like there's nothing. There's only so much shit we can laugh about. You know, it's like this shit's fucking because it's nonstop.
I would prefer the laugh rather than the serious shit at this point because we've done this specific thing the past 2 episodes, and honestly,
well, not really. If you listen to episode 12, we didn't. I mean, I could play it for her.
This was
I get it. It's too heavy.
It's too heavy. It pisses me off. I want to punch people in the face.
But it does affect. But if we're doing a blue collar fucking podcast and blue collar fucking people, this is affecting people who work everyday jobs.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. But at the same point.
Well, on Saturday, we'll definitely give an update about how businesses are opening.
There's only so many only so many dick jokes I got available. I mean, there's only so many fucking mosquito virus.
I'll find shit that's funny as hell.
I've told all you guys. I told fucking Jen and Ellie. I said, listen, I can't be the only been busy because you're working such. It's like Jen. I'm busy.
I'm crossing the line. She's been busy with Longhorn.
Same thing as fucking Jen. Jen's like, Jen's like, I'm busy. Jen, you don't have a fucking job, but you're busy.
Well, I mean, like I said, this Saturday, there's definitely, I have a lot of updates for businesses that are opening, especially mine.
There we go. There's something good.
There's a lot of Crossgates is almost going to fully open as of Sunday, and we'll have more details on that on Saturday.
All right, Al.
When we
and
do our podcast.
that's something good to know.
Say goodbye, so we got 2 minutes.
Right. You know my spiel. Take care of your neighborhood. Take care of your neighbors. Donate to your local police. Donate to your local fire stations, your hospitals, your libraries, your schools. Protect your neighborhood. Protect your neighbors. Do the good thing.
Your community.
Yep.
Improve the community. Make it better for everybody.
Any shout outs, Junior, you got?
Huh? Oh, well, I shouted out Standby. Nobody else got in contact with me. So
shout out to Standby. You're the man.
Yep, he is the man.
Go Standby.
He literally is my best friend for a reason. So
yeah, fuck you. But anyway,
He's jealous. He's jealous.
Yeah, he ain't buying you fucking fireball, so.
Well, that may be true, but I mean, I'm not over. He gives me weed to smoke, so kind of equals out.
Well, I only have so much fucking money. It's like
it evens out. You know what I'm saying? He gives me weed to smoke. You give me Fireball to drink.
That Fireball's expensive.
The Fireball's like $6.
Wow.
That shit was $4.99.
I said $6, and I was being generous with tax. You got the audacity to try to compare $20 a week worth of weed.
I'm not used to buying weed because, like, people like me and Al who work real jobs, we can't smoke weed all the time.
I don't smoke weed all the time either. When's the last time you've done as much physical labor as me?
Huh?
You haven't done it.
I went jogging today.
Okay, all right.
I'm about to make you both. Hey, you're both about to lift an appliance when you get upstairs. So
what the hell makes you think I want to lift anything?
Because I'm making your.
She has to put a fucking fridge in the attic because it's such a long, hard walk from the attic downstairs to the kitchen, and she.
There's no room in the fridge half the time.
She's turned into fucking Al. Stairs are her enemy.
My nemesis.
Al, do me a favor. Pick up that cup and throw it at Chris.
All right, guys. We had over 3 hours, but sorry, but it's like, hey, sometimes we gotta get serious. Every fucking podcaster or radio fucking host too, whether it's fucking Rogan or Stern or even Kevin Smith too, you can't have every single episode. There's only so much dick jokes we can laugh at. I'm sorry, but like. That sometimes this shit.
I will find every Chuck Norris meme there is, and I will read them all on here.
But this is real shit because it's like this can happen.
I'm here for that.
This can happen to any one of us. This does affect everybody.
I'll fill 3 hours worth of it.
Anybody's working a fucking real job, this shit affects. So,
true.
But as usual, guys, I love you, and like I always fucking say, like all 4 of us, no matter what happens, it's like don't want your money and don't need your money, and I try to fucking. Getting better with my speeches and talking, and I will keep writing shit down for Saturday and try to be more comical, but it's hard. It's a hard fucking balance.
This Saturday, every Chuck Norris meme known to man.
Hopefully Jen will be here because Jen has said Jen being unemployed. I hate taking so much of her fucking time because she's so busy doing stuff. Yeah. So thanks, Jen. All right, bye.